Welcome to this edition of Hindsight is Horrifying, the show where three mostly normal and somewhat cynical adults discuss life as members of the TV generation. Now here are your hosts, Darth Jada, Jason Mitchell, and Adam B.
I don't know.
Do I look like Adam B now?
Hello. We're here.
Good
Yes.
evening.
We're live.
Good to be back.
And a happy Veterans Day. Although you're not seeing this on Veterans Day, I don't want any letters.
Yeah, no. Because I'm the one who has to answer them, and I'm done doing that. No more letters.
We
Every
get it.
day is Veterans
Yeah,
Day.
we understand it. We know how time
Yes.
works and calendars and everything. So, welcome back to another exciting edition of Hindsight is Horrifying, where today I have picked the movie.
Yay!
That's
and
you-
for once, it has nothing to do with aliens.
I know. I went a little out of my comfort zone. This
Terrorists
time.
instead
Yeah.
of aliens. Sweet.
That's
Sounds
all I
great.
see, man. It's all terrorists or aliens, man.
That explains so much about you, Jason.
It really does.
Really does.
Darth, why don't you tell them what movie we are talking about?
Well, Hindsighters Jason picked one of his favorites that he's been crowing about off screen for quite a while now. It's a movie called Toy Soldiers from 1991.
Yes.
With your very favorite of all the hobbits, Samwise.
That's true. Yes.
Sean Astin.
Remember
Rudy.
when Sean? Yeah,
Rudy.
Rudy. Remember when Sean Astin was an action star?
I had never seen him.
It was for an hour and 36 minutes.
Yes, approximately for that long. I'd never seen him in an action-y role that was anything outside of Lord of the Rings. So
Right.
it was kind of funny to watch him just running around in Reeboks and kicking ass in 1991.
Well, as a kid, this movie immediately jumped out to me because, one, Louis Gossett Jr., and come on.
The love of Jason's life.
I mean, Louis Gossett Jr. is just one of the coolest people ever. One of the, he was in so many movies I loved as a kid.
Oh,
but-
Jaws
Gentlemen.
3D specifically.
Jaws 3D. But also Denham Elliott, a.k.a. Marcus Brody.
Oh, yes.
From the Indiana Jones movies.
Yes.
This is true.
But the real star of the movie, to be honest, is the U.S. Army. Because
Oh my
it's
God.
this movie has got the best ending of any movie ever. It just does.
With you got R. Lee Ermey running around commanding
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
And so
It's actually R. Lee Ermey's most understated, role he ever played.
yeah, it's the most mellow I've ever seen.
He
him.
really, because the whole time he's like, no, I don't know if we should do that.
He wasn't going Full Metal Jacket on anybody. He was actually
Stupid
second.
man.
Yeah, he was second guessing. You're right, Jason. He was like, all right, hold on, no. But then he gets a little more, ripped out later. He's like, no, this kid, if he could pull this off,
Yes.
we need an assault on this building. So he does go a little R. Lee Ermey about it later.
And the bad guy who was a kid, I briefly thought was Commander Riker from Star Trek.
You know what?
He's got
kinda
sort
see
of a
that.
Rikery kind of.
He does. He just needs to start, putting his foot
Putting
on
his
people.
leg on things. Yeah. And his henchman Barry, or whatever the hell, the whitest man,
Barry!
the whitest man in the world is.
Oh,
is
right,
the,
With the
Yeah.
glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
who gets the shit killed out of him.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that.
The thing is, what is the name of the villain? What's the actor's name?
Oh, I can't remember. He was on NCIS.
David. It's your son's
He's a
name.
Venezuelan actor.
I don't remember his last name.
Okay. So Luis Cali is his character's name.
Yeah.
But so the thing is, Hindsighters, Luis Cali is this Colombian terrorist, and his father, who's this Colombian kingpin, has been arrested by the United States for being a terrorist and being a generally bad person.
And doing things like throwing judges out of helicopters.
He's throwing the hell out of everybody off of every high
That's his
thing that he
thing.
possibly can.
Yeah, that's his thing. He's really into that.
But
throws
thankfully,
it-
did you notice the judge had a parachute? He was decent enough to
I
give
He had
him
his
a parachute.
robes
Yeah.
spread out like bat wings.
I always like to say, remember when they make these movies in the 90s and before, we didn't have HD. You were in a theater. Maybe you couldn't quite tell. You could tell.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah,
anyway,
absolutely.
so the U.S. government arrests and extradites Mr. Kali,
Senor Kali. yeah.
Senor Kali, whose son doesn't take well to that.
He's threateningly loyal to his
He
father.
loves his dad.
He loves his dad.
Really
a whole
has
lot.
dad.
Loves
Yeah, loves
his
his
dad.
But the basic synopsis is the plot revolves around an all-male boarding school overtaken by terrorists. While the authorities remain helpless, a group of rebellious and mischievous students decide to put their resourcefulness to good use.
You want to know
Oh,
something
the
that's going to
internet.
blow your mind? This movie
I'm ready.
based on a novel. It's actually
I did
based.
see
It's
that in
actually
the
based on a
closing
book.
credits.
William
I saw that.
William
at the end,
Kennedy?
yeah.
I have no idea.
something Kennedy. Yeah, I actually looked today to see if you could get a copy of it somewhere, and it's not on Kindle. It's you can get used copies.
Is it out of
You
print?
know, it's out of print.
Oh my god.
Yeah, which is amazing. You know, like I mean,
Oh, there's Will Wheaton.
yeah, Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton.
Wheaton.
Oh, that's another reason I love this movie because Will Wheaton gets killed. it's like
Shut up.
Not a Will Wheaton fan?
no.
Picard's not a fan
No,
of Wheaton,
no.
so why would Jason be?
No.
Shut
Wait,
up,
Picard
Wheaton.
doesn't like Picard likes Wheaton.
Shut up, Wesley.
It's a running joke on family.
Oh, okay.
Don't
Oh,
worry
okay,
about
okay,
it.
okay.
But we have Sean Astin, Will Wheaton, and other people who are his friends.
Do you need some assistance?
Well, I don't know. I honestly do not know the names of.
Snuffy is the friend. So Will Wheaton plays Joey. Sean Astin
Yeah.
plays Billy.
Yeah.
And so he's the main guy. and
Really,
then-
the screenwriters really they thought about that one a while.
yeah, Billy,
and
Joey,
Johnny.
and
Joey.
Snuffy, which is what your girlfriend would name your shared dog. Like, my girlfriend named.
Well,
his name
and
is
Cookie
Snuffy.
Monster was in it, but they cut all of his scenes.
He was trying to do cookie dough in the bathroom with his little lighter and his spoon.
Yes.
The shorts were very short because
Oh,
it was
yeah.
carryover from the 80s.
Oh yeah, this was.
Yeah.
This was. It
And
was
it's an all-boys school.
yes. Yes.
Yeah, and I noticed throughout the movie they like to hang out in their tidy whities in really close, close.
Yeah, one of them almost had like kind of
Close
The,
spanky
proximity.
underwear.
the Italian kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Will Wheaton.
I felt uncomfortable just watching it personally.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that's
seeing
just
Will
me.
Wheaton without a shirt on is going to make anyone uncomfortable.
I-
That's been proven scientifically.
This is true. But the movie, it starts off in Colombia where Luis Cali is terrorizing, his
Yeah.
fellow citizens
Well,
and
he's-
throwing them off buildings and helicopters. And then we just suddenly wind up at this all-boys school, and
Well,
you don't really
to-
realize what the connection
To
is
be
yet.
fair, the son of the kingpin is pretty terrible at his job.
He is.
Because he
His
shows up in
intel-
Colombia. Yeah, he shows up in Colombia and he's like, "I want to free my father," and they're like, "Yeah, he
He already left this
he already
morning,
left
dude.
on a plane."
And
What?
then he was
Liar,
mad.
liar.
Yeah.
Push the woman out the
Mentiroso.
window.
Yeah.
And then it comes on the TV. It's like, oops.
Oh man, I feel like a dick now.
Yeah.
His intel is always just like 6 hours behind.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was before cell phones were
Yeah.
popular. There was a lag between communication between
Yeah.
people.
It's true.
and
This is
that's just-
1991,
Right.
And they didn't beep each other on the beepers.
No.
Well, and then he shows up at the school because his plan is he's going to go to the school,
To kidnap the
son of the judge.
the judge,
who's
right?
overseeing,
who's overseeing
his
the
father's
case.
case now. Yes.
Unfortunately, when he gets there,
the son
the
is already
son's
gone.
already gone. Bad. I mean, you got to think that the other terrorists are starting to wonder maybe they should have signed up with a different cell.
Well, and the
you know?
excuse was totally legit for 1991, though, because his American, go-between assistant was like, we were in transit after they sent us this intel.
Right,
So
yeah.
there was a gap in the information, and since
we-
they didn't have cell phones.
Yeah, we were in hibernation during the transit.
They
yeah.
were coyoteing across the border and trying to
Right.
get into another country, so they lost time.
You
on
had to go
that.
to a payphone then to
Yeah.
make a call. It was tough times.
You had to know phone numbers
Right.
in your head.
Yes.
In 1991, listeners, this is something that I recall.
So in classic 90s, and really, I actually view this movie as an 80s movie because it's thematically, everything
Right.
about it is an 80s movie.
It is.
you
It's
know.
honestly, it's Red Dawn meets Dead Poet Society.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well said.
Um,
Yes, well said.
I mean, it's the classic trope of bad guys doing something really terrible and kids having to save the day.
Yeah.
But it's a bit more mature than that, though. I mean, it is more of a Red Dawn-ish sort of level of maturity.
Oh yeah, because kids are actually dying.
kids
and
get
people
killed.
people are
Well,
getting
only
killed
one
all
kid
over the
gets
place.
killed.
Will Wheaton.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
The rest are cheering or teachers, not cheerins.
And
but-
the headmaster gets bitch slapped really hard.
Yeah,
in the
well,
eye.
which when you realize that, he was already diagnosed with AIDS when he was filming this, that's like,
Are you joking?
no, Denham Elliott died of AIDS.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he died in 92.
Aw. Damn.
Yeah, he died in 92. The whole Denham Elliott story is a huge downer.
I don't know anything about this guy,
he-
so I'm
he
out of
was-
the loop.
he
Tell
was-
the hindsighters.
Throughout most of his life or just toward the end?
Mainly towards the end. I mean,
Yeah.
he was secretly bisexual.
Did he and Mr.
But-
Brady sleep
Aren't we all?
Yeah, but he was really supposedly promiscuous. He slept around a lot, and
You're
his
such
second,
a slut shamer.
well, his second wife always said, no, he's not gay, and then all of a sudden it's like, A, I'm gay, B, A, I'm bi, B, I have AIDS or HIV. He died in 92. His daughter died not too long ago, and she killed herself. She was a heroin addict.
Oh, God.
And then his widow, this is the really horrible, I think it was like back in 14.
I'm sorry.
She lived in London, and she was in a wheelchair, completely immobilized, basically, died in a house fire.
Oh no.
So the Denham
Yeah.
Elliott thing is like
Move on.
super
Yes.
dark.
God.
Yeah.
Listeners and watchers, let's move on.
Yeah.
They're leaving.
Well, I wanted to get all the Denham Elliott commentary out of the way
Yeah,
up front. Now we can just talk about Marcus Brody.
I'll just sweep it under the studio table and talk about Marcus Brody.
What are they doing right now?
Yeah, fellas, what are the kids doing in the kitchen basement?
They're calling 976 something 555 something.
They're calling a sex hotline, is
Yeah.
what they're doing, because they're high school boys. And
Yes.
the way they do it,
1877 whores for kids. Whores for kids. And the whole time this is happening, I'm just envisioning some just woman with a phone on her ear while she's ironing.
ironing,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Making pretty good money too.
Oh, absolutely.
hey, if you're
yeah.
a good enough actress, I'm sure you could make plenty good money being on a
I think
sex
by the
hotline.
time you're talking to somebody who calls a phone sex line, you don't really have to be that good of an actress.
I don't think so either, because they're pretty hard up at that point anyway.
I think I could
so-
do it. Hi, I'm Jennifer. What's your name?
Jennifer,
Steve.
are you a smoker?
Steve's a great name. It's really sexy.
It's really sexy. Like
Now are the 900 numbers still popular? Do
I don't-
people still do that? I used to be really big when I was young.
Well, no, now they have Night Flirt.
Oh,
what
night
is
flirt.
this?
Oh, you guys have never heard of Night Flirt? Oh, you need to go look it up.
You guys, I've never even so much as seen porn. Why would I know what?
What?
Night flirt is?
What?
I've told you both about this.
You've never seen a pornographic movie?
No, never.
Oh,
right.
I've got some.
No.
I've got some cinematographs from the 1920s that are going to blow your mind.
Phrasing.
Yeah. What the butler saw.
Anyway,
Well, can we take just a moment? It is Veterans Day, even though this isn't airing on Veterans Day.
Yes. But it's our Veterans Day.
and we had to
is.
show some appreciation for our beloved veteran here
Yes.
in the studio.
And I'm playing Lee Ermey today with my Lee Ermey uniform, which is actually my old uniform, one of the few that still fits me. But I walked in today and look what my bestest of all friends made for me. This is a Lafayette submarine 1000th or something like that.
It's
What would it be?
1370, I think.
1370, sealed in a resin block. So it's beautiful, and it will be proudly displayed in my home. And as I was telling Jade and Jason, that if anyone comes into my house, I can kill them with it, because this is the heaviest thing I've
Yeah,
ever seen.
And sharp edges.
Yes,
Yeah.
If
It's not
terrorists try to
child
take
safe.
over. No, it's not.
Yeah.
wonderful.
Well,
If a toddler comes in your homes and licks it, they're probably going to die.
Yeah, so hopefully
Okay,
they're
keep
no
it away from the
toddlers
pets.
licking anything.
Yeah.
But you're lucky that we didn't add the tags that we jokingly discussed when Jason was constructing this model.
It was
for you.
tempting.
It was. Would you like to hear what they were? Do you
Dare
remember
I?
yours?
Remember, the show is watched by children, but proceed.
Well,
A
your
child.
child.
A
One
child. my child, yes.
Well, Jason asked me if he should add a tag, and I was like, absolutely. Who's he trying to be? Top or bottoms? USS Skipper or
Well, what I
Skipper of the USS Rough Service?
What I actually thought about doing was having, this side, which is the display side.
Yes.
And then on the back side, doing graffiti and writing like "Hungry for Love" on the other side. And
We
like,
played with some ideas.
like put an anarchy symbol up in the sail.
Some of the
you know,
classic
yeah,
lines,
yeah.
right?
I would have messed it up. Tough yet or rough yet sensual skipper of the USS Rough Service.
Top or bottom.
Top or bottom.
Yep.
Phil McCracken.
Yes, but no, it was a pleasure to build. Towards the end,
Well, once the resin high wore off,
Once
it
is
wasn't
enough,
as fun.
right?
yeah.
It'll never be done again.
Yeah, so
that
don't
that
beat
is
anybody
that is
to death with it.
absolutely a one-off. I am probably out of the resin game until probably 6 months from now when I go, I'll try it again.
Do it
Until
one more
those
time.
brain cells regenerate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, when I hit the withdrawal,
Yeah.
I need to get another fix. I'll start mixing resin in the
Yep.
in the garage again.
Awesome. But yes, so Happy Veterans Day to Mr. Brown
Happy
and all of
Veterans
our
Day.
beloved
Yes, and all
veterans,
veterans
out there. We appreciate
Thank you for
every
your
single one of you.
service.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And-
back to this
They're
wildly
listening
inappropriate.
to porn.
Yes. Well,
Well,
they've been
porn
caught.
or-
Phone
yeah, they-
sex.
Well,
Phone
and
sex.
I
Yeah,
love
They had their
how
phone
much,
sex moment.
It's funny because having only seen this movie as an adult, I side with Louis Gossett Jr. because he's tough, but he's fair with the students at the school.
Yeah, he's
'Cause
cool. He's so cool in
He's
this.
not the dean, but he is the dean. And he
Yeah.
even, because he discovers that the boys in the basement of the kitchen have tapped into the school phone line in order to call the sex hotline.
With stuff he bought at Radio Shack,
Yes, and he's
which used to be a store.
and he keeps saying, yeah, oh God, that makes me feel old. But he was like, this is genius. He actually
Yeah.
admires the boys' ingenuity despite
Oh,
the
yeah.
fact that they're wildly breaking
Well,
the rules.
he's that classic 80s, 90s stereotype. He's the principal who, I am not giving up on you.
He begrudgingly
like,
respects
yeah.
his students despite the fact that they're all
Yeah.
rough and tumble and riffraff.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And-
he's a disciplined dean too,
Yeah.
because when he first listened to what was going on, he could have rubbed one out quickly, but he didn't.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you
Yeah.
guys this. It's like if you just picked up and there was, quote unquote, free porn coming in on your phone line, would you go searching for underage boys or would you just listen to what was happening on the phone?
Well, it cut away. You really don't know how long he listened to it.
Yeah.
He might have, had a quick moment to himself and then gone and,
He was
Yeah.
in the privacy of his own office.
Yeah.
This
He
is
did
true.
seem very relaxed. when
Yeah,
he-
I mean, look how
when he-
chill he is. But it's Louis Gossett Jr. though, so
He's
it's
always-
hard to
He's
tell.
never,
cool.
he's never stressed
It's
out.
Chappie Sinclair from Iron Eagle. Chappie.
This is the man that outlived Sir Lord Slappy Bottom.
Yes.
Jaws 3D.
Now, yeah, that's true. That's true. Now we're in somewhere in deepest Southern California.
Coyote territory because
Yeah.
they are they're muling across the
You
border.
mulin? You kids mulin? The thing about this is that I'm actually curious where they filmed some of these scenes because
Southern
most
California.
it's got to be Southern California because most of the movie was filmed at a private school in Virginia.
Yes.
Which was the same school in what movie, gentlemen? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know.
Ooh.
Major Payne.
Really?
Yes, because it was actually an all boys military school. And Jason, you'll love this. It goes back to our Phantasm episode where they took marble contact paper and put it over the walls. The brick in the fenced in quad was a complete facade. It was built
That's
over,
not part of the school?
No,
That's,
it was
okay.
it was fake brick walls built over iron fencing. And at the end, all the boys got to tear the fake fencing down that was the fake brick. So that was part of it. But
That's
that was
cool.
The same
Oh,
school
that'd be
from
fun.
Major Payne.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So in the early 90s, Virginia provided a great deal of incentives for films to come and shoot there. And a lot of them did. In fact, just before this, Navy SEALs was shot in Virginia Beach.
Can I make a confession to both of you?
Please do.
No.
I like Navy SEALs. I like that movie.
I did
Oh.
too. I
Oh, you like it
I was
too?
like, you like
Okay.
Navy SEALs?
Yeah.
A lot of ladies do too.
No, they're too rough.
That's why you have to go with top or bottoms
Yeah,
because he'll
and-
give you the option.
And after they finish, they cry. So it's, it's the whole.
I'm so sorry I went down
No,
this avenue with you.
No, Navy SEALs. I like it. Yeah, but anyway,
Oh,
you were
but-
saying.
Well, yeah. So Virginia provided a lot of incentives. So a lot of films came there, and that was just as I was easing into the acting world. I was still active duty Navy at the time, and a lot of the casting agencies in and around Norfolk sent a lot of their actors up to Richmond or wherever this was shot. So a lot of the places I went had the Toy Shoulders poster.
Really?
You
Oh,
know,
that's
in
cool.
in their the agencies and the casting agencies and the talent agencies, and that's why I was like, why do I know Toy Soldiers? Is because this is one of the the first films when that was going on.
Didn't last very
sense.
long. That era in Virginia's.
No, but George is big now, as you know, it's huge
Made
in
Georgia.
Well, and that's
Oh, those
hopefully
Reeboks.
something that will continue of Georgia because Virginia did the same thing that Louisiana did because people don't realize or remember Louisiana started to do the sort of Georgia thing a while back, and then as soon as it started taking off, they taxed the shit out of the film industry, so they just left.
They pieced out.
like
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
like they do.
And you
Like
can't
it.
blame them. I mean, no.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need you. We can go somewhere else.
This is true. But to get back to the plot of the movie, so the dean, and this is something that is a callback later, so we have to touch on this. When the guys are listening to the sex hotline down in the basement, what are they drinking, gentlemen? I have the exact recipe of
Okay,
the
I wanna see if I
cocktail
can
that they
remember
mix
it.
together. Yeah, let's see if you
Okay,
remember.
4 parts 100 proof vodka, 3 parts creme de menthe, 2
2
parts creme
parts.
de menthe.
No, wait.
one part creme de menthe.
and
Oh crap! What was the,
Grenadine? I don't know what else.
no? It
was
wasn't.
in
What was the middle one? I
2
can't
parts peppermint schnapps.
peppermint
Oh,
schnapps.
right.
Because it's 4
to
parts.
make it taste like mouthwash.
Yes, and then the 1 part creme de menthe to make it green.
Yeah.
So the guys, they all take
Brilliant.
a shot of it, and they're like, "Oh, screw
It
you,
really
man!
is. It
You
really
said
is
trust
mouthwash."
you, and it is mouthwash." And he's like, "No, I just made it seem like mouthwash. Now we can have liquor in plain sight in our dorm rooms." And it's just like, geez,
Brilliant.
Yes.
the things kids do to skirt the rules. It's
Yeah.
it's amazing, the ingenuity in this
Well,
movie.
but I actually like the fact that Louis Gossett Jr. puts 2 and 2 together and he realizes who sold them the booze.
Yeah, and he confronts the town sheriff
Yes.
about it, and he
Yeah.
he goes toe to toe with the sheriff about it, saying
He's going to
"Look,"
protect his boys.
because
Yeah.
he knows that he can sort of weigh one favor for another, because he knows that his boys spray painted one of the sheriff's cars, and he said, "Listen, I know my boys did wrong by spray painting your car, but I know it's your uncle who runs the
Right.
only liquor store in town, right?" And that he and the sheriff are about to come to blows about it, basically, until somebody gets shot
somebody
up at
gets
the
shot.
school,
The
and
guy-
that's when the terrorists
the
take
security
over.
guard who works there 24
hours a day with only a nightstick.
Yeah.
And he's inept from the beginning, because the three
Oh, yeah.
the troublemakers in the school, their main friend who leaves, he leaves right away because he's the
You
federal
never
judge's
see him
kid.
again.
No, he's the
Yeah.
he's just a plot point.
Yeah.
He's the federal judge's kid who gets taken to a safe area just so that Louise can look like an idiot yet again when his intel is 8 hours behind.
I'm going to
But-
pause it here so you can just stare at
Will
Will Wheaton.
shirtless in
Yeah,
his dorm
shirtless
room.
with his tiny,
I
tiny
can't
nipples.
say Will Wheaton without
I
trying to
know.
sound like Stewie.
I
It's
know.
ridiculous.
It needs to work out a little bit, actually.
It's, he's
How
in high
old would he have been during this movie? I wonder.
Well, I mean,
Probably
90
early 20s.
Yeah,
I would
I'd say so. Yeah.
Well, let's say Will Wheaton. Let's just see how old he is now, and we can do the math. But
While we're calculating that,
Mm.
let us take a quick break.
yes, I need a math break, guys.
Yes. Okay.
I need a
Math break. We will be back in about 2 seconds.
Two parts.
You didn't see that.
Uno, dos.
And we're
back.
back.
It's good to be back after a nice long break of 2 seconds.
Yes. Mine was more than 2 seconds.
Well, because I recently learned that there are buttons as opposed to a fly, so Mr. Brown has to plan his bathroom breaks a little more carefully.
You don't remember those ads, the button up fly?
No, I remember them, but I can't remember the last
Oh, you
time
really
I-
do? I thought that was like an 80s thing.
501 Blues.
Yeah, the 501 Blues. Yeah.
501 Blues with the button fly. I love those.
Button flies were still a thing in the early-ish 90s, so I mean...
Are they not in? Yikes. Uh-oh.
Well,
can you
this
still
was-
buy 'em?
This was issued to you, so
Yes, it
I,
was.
I think that's a bit
A
different.
man from the government gave him those pants.
Well, we think he was
came
from the
out. Yeah, wait,
government.
hang on. That came out wrong.
well, you know, the Cracker Jacks, which the enlisted guys wear, there's a flap in the front, and it's got 13 buttons in it. 13 for the 13 original colonies, so there's a reason for everything.
Yeah, who cares?
But if you have to go really bad, it is a serious problem.
Come on, Delaware. Come on, New Hampshire. Come on.
Georgia. Come on.
Lois, I wet my uniform.
Somebody's really going to worry about what you're doing in that bathroom, yelling, Georgia, Georgia, Georgia!
Sweet Georgia.
Sweet Georgia O'Keeffe!
Oh, South Carolina. Thank you. Sweet Carolina.
Oh,
So-
bum, bum.
So, in just to catch the good folks up with the movie, because it takes about 26 minutes of character development and establishing, which is typical of movies of this period.
Which,
Yeah.
it's pretty quickly done.
Yeah. You establish the relationship between the students and each other, between Louis Gossett Jr.
And the
students.
Especially the troublemaking students.
Right. And the school is mostly troublemakers.
Right.
Well,
It's
they're
not
all-
exclusively.
not necessarily troublemakers at this school, but they made trouble at former schools. All of them
Right,
have been
yeah,
kicked
yeah.
out of a former prep school of some sort to wind up at this one.
Oh, there he is.
And both of these
Denham
guys,
Elliott.
they took all of the furniture out of the dean's
Headmaster-
office,
no, the headmaster's
office, and put it in the quad. And they both take it very, very well.
They do. They really do.
They chuckle a little bit.
Boys will be boys. You know,
Well, and
that
they
sort of
even
thing,
sit there.
you know.
They're like, the headmaster looks at the dean. He's like, I'm having a hard time not laughing right now.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is pretty impressive.
Well, I like the Denham Elliott's like, you know, I want to sit out here and work out here all day.
yeah.
You know,
Why
I think
wouldn't
you should.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
out
It's a
there.
beautiful quad with fake brick fencing
Yes.
all around.
Yes. Yes. But the students, you know, engage in some pranks, and it kind of sets the tone that it's a pranky. You know, they're bad students, but really what they do
Yep,
is
there you
hijinks.
see the camera. You can see the shadow of the camera. See?
Oh,
Yeah.
and
The chair there.
Yeah.
this part right here, gentlemen,
There it
did you
is.
know? So Sean Aston.
Crane
is,
up.
But Sean Aston is eating a banana. Did you know that was entirely improvised?
No.
He was hungry and he asked one of the crew members for something to eat. They gave him a banana. So him throwing the peel in the garbage can and everything was completely
Which
improvised.
means that Louis Gossett Jr.'s
Just
reaction
ran with
to
it.
it,
Uh-huh.
yeah, pick that up.
Yep. I mean, that's what you would expect from Lou Gossett Jr. Though. Like I would never just errantly throw a banana in his general direction
No.
in such a disrespectful fashion.
No, absolutely.
But he
not.
threw it in the garbage. Like if you threw
Yeah,
it
but
in the
there's
desk,
but
is
there's
one
no
thing.
liner in the garbage.
Oh, that's true.
So
Yes.
rude.
Yes.
You know that banana's gonna leave some residue.
Yeah. Well, so, and then because the tone is perfectly established, now we can move on to the actual inciting incident of the movie.
And before we do that, this for me, since this was the first time me seeing this movie, I thought when the dean had the entire box full of the illicit mouthwash concoction and he was putting it in his trunk, I was like, oh, he's taking that home to get rowdy.
yeah.
Because he sits there and he's like, oh man, this is actually a pretty good idea. And man, we did mouthwash back in my day. This
Well,
isn't even news.
he
Come on.
has to go get drunk because he has a friend whose dad was just shot down over some Middle Eastern country, and he's got to help him fly F-16s in there to get him back. He's
And
got
his-
a busy schedule.
And his nephew was recently eaten at a water park. And it just,
yes.
He's got a stressful agenda.
and I
I'm
want to
telling
say
you.
he was an alien in Enemy Mine.
Yes.
Something along
With Randy? No, Dennis Quaid.
Dennis,
right?
yeah, Dennis Quaid. Yeah, so
Yeah,
he's
they were in-
busy.
he and Dennis Quaid have had some
Yeah.
traumatic times together. But
And here comes Kiefer Sutherland.
aged about 30 years.
Yeah, he's like, I almost said he's a Canadian Kiefer Sutherland, but I realized Kiefer Sutherland is Canadian, so I don't even know what to say.
If Kiefer Sutherland and Stellan Skarsgård had a baby, it would be this terrorist. with the round
Hogwarts has
glasses.
fallen.
Hogwarts never fell.
And I thought he
How
was
dare
good,
you.
but I looked him up on IMDb. I don't think he's worked since '96. Actually,
Really?
I think that was it for him.
You know, you would. It's so weird. Well, I think part of his problem is that he's either perfectly cast or he's horribly miscast.
Yeah.
You know.
Which
and
is
I
funny how
think-
that can either make or break your career.
Yeah, I think for him he was cast wrong. Now the guy who plays Kali, he has said, and I do know this much about him. He has said that, you know, because he's done a lot of TV work. He was on NCIS Los
Andrew
Angeles.
Divoff, or how would you pronounce that? Luis Colley.
Yeah. Andrew Divoff.
Okay.
Andrew Divoff.
Because he has
yeah.
said this is, you know, from his whole career, this is his favorite character. And
Yeah.
you can see why.
He played it very well, I thought.
Yeah. Oh, a payphone.
And look, they dialed 911.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird to think that if
It's amazing.
terrorists tried this today, all the kids would have phones, and there'd be kids off in their rooms going, "Hey,
Yeah.
there's terrorists here."
They'd almost have to pull an Ocean's 11 and pull like an EMP or something that would like knock
Yeah.
out all the
Well,
electronics
yeah,
just
that's-
to make it worth their while.
I think that's one of the reasons why this movie works, and I don't think you could remake it, is because obviously, as far as terrorism is concerned, we're getting better about going back, and terrorists can still be bad guys in movies. But, you know, after 9/11, it was so sensitive.
It was so taboo and so
you know,
yeah, there was too much emotion.
it had to be dealt with seriously. And this movie obviously isn't going to do that. But in 91, a terrorist was just a bad guy in the post-Soviet world.
Yeah,
we didn't have
from
Russia.
whatever country. It didn't
Yeah,
even really matter.
It
that
mattered
much.
not, because the movie industry had the Soviets and they lost the Soviets. And then it was like, well, we got to have some pool of bad guys, terrorists. Oh, well, how about drug dealing terrorists?
Central
like-
America. There you go.
Whatever
Yeah.
was convenient, whatever
Right.
was convenient, because they even had a mention of that on Friends, where Joey's trying to get his headshot put up at his local dry cleaners, and the man who runs the dry cleaners is Russian, and he won't put Joey's headshot up because he's like, "Your television show makes Russians look like bad people," and he was like, and Joey goes, "But Harrison Ford is on the wall, and Russians were the bad guys in Air Force One, and he was like, yeah, but Harrison Ford brings me lots of business. So it's funny how the bad guys rotate depending
Yeah.
on what's politically correct.
Well,
at
no,
any
it's
given
absolutely
time.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, well, you know, it's safe to say that the only service the Nazis did to humanity was give us a pool of bad guys
united-
that you can kill the shit out of them.
And everybody would just cheer.
Yeah, Nazis are like evil robots. You don't care. You can just mow them down by the bushel. Who gives a shit? You know?
If they break
And then there's Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny. I actually knew a guy who had been in a German camp, in a prisoner camp.
Oh, wow.
He hated Hogan's Heroes. It made him so violently angry.
Because it was just so non-realistic.
And it's like they're not trying to, you know.
Hogan's
It's
Heroes
not a
is-
documentary.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
it's not Schindler's List.
But he would
you
always
know?
say, was like, well, if we did the same thing in a concentration camp, would that be funny? It's like, okay, you got me there. But Bob Crane is in Hogan's Heroes, and he was, he was actually a pretty weird guy.
He was. He was very kinky.
Yeah.
I think he got like strangled with a lamp cord during
Do
some-
not go down this avenue, please.
okay.
Don't.
Yeah.
So Werner Klemper was a Jew, by the way, who played Colonel Klink, and he said the only reason he agreed to it is because he made the Nazis look like complete idiots.
Yeah,
And he
exactly.
He
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
All right.
Nothing.
I see
I
nothing.
see nothing.
So what happens,
Who
hindsighters?
is this kid? And how much do you want to punch him in the face?
I mean, that's the Ethan Hawke of the crew. I'm telling you, it's
Ooh,
Dead Poet Society meets
wow.
Red Dawn. No, like he's got the '90s Ethan Hawke
does.
hair and he's got the whole Ethan Hawke look. That was a look back then.
I
in
see.
91.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons why I liked this movie so much when I was a kid. It's because these kids looked like people that I knew.
Oh,
yeah.
You know? And
well,
so
this is your age group.
It was,
pretty
yeah,
much.
this was, I mean, as a kid, I had this on VHS and I would watch this in pieces.
you had to with longer movies like that.
Because you had a bedtime. Because
Yeah.
mom and dad told you to go to bed.
And you
so
would get up in the
only-
morning early,
Yeah.
like 20 minutes early to watch 20 minutes of the movie while you got
Yep,
ready for
yep.
school. Oh, yeah, I totally
yeah.
used to do that
There
with
were,
my little VHS.
it's so weird because it was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, this movie, Jaws, and a movie that I'm curious if either of you remember, Thunderheart, starring Val Kilmer.
I was about to say, that rang a bell.
He's not like an Indian cop,
Yes.
is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is it. Yeah, that's it.
I'd never seen
Native
it.
American,
Excellent
yeah.
movie.
I've
Excellent
heard of
movie.
it. I've never
Yeah.
seen it.
Yeah.
Because, Val Kilmer was huge when I was growing up. So that, yeah.
But I had like 4 tapes that was,
were
I got
just
like
on
20
rotate.
minutes before bed. So put, Last Crusade in,
Yep.
you know.
And you
Which-
got really good at timing it
Yes.
because if you spaced it out throughout the day, you would actually have that last 30 minutes before bedtime while you brush your
And-
teeth.
And the funny thing is, my copy of Last Crusade came from McDonald's. It was
Oh,
either McDonald's
really?
or Burger King.
I was
got
about to
it
say,
in the
they
Happy
did-
Meal?
Yeah. It was like buy this and you can get a copy of the movie for $2 or something, or
Oh, it's
whatever.
like the other day when we were up in Dahlonega going to a vineyard with some friends.
I was in Dahlonega?
No.
Oh,
When Josh and I were in Dahlonega.
You said we, so it confused me.
Oh, okay. Not us. I have a
The
life.
royal we. I get
I
it.
have a life outside the studio, hindsighters, believe it or not. They used to chain me to the
Aw.
table, but now they, actually let me venture out every now
I
and
wish
then.
I had a life outside the studio.
Well, But anyway, we passed an old school Pizza Hut that actually advertised itself as such. It was the Hut old school
Aw.
style, and I was like, I was suddenly envisioning those Star Wars rubber hand puppets that were part of
The
their
red
kind
cups?
Of,
Remember the red
yes!
cups?
All the stuff that Pizza Hut used to do. I was like, oh my god, I'm flashing back so hard to the early '90s. It hurts. Like,
See, it's such a weird thing because, you have a young, you have 2 young children. You have,
Yes.
But you have 1 young male child. I do
Correct.
too. And I've tried to figure out, like, what are the things that he's going to remember from his childhood? Like, I can say red cups to you.
oh yeah,
at
I know
Pizza Hut,
exactly. What
and
you're
you know
talking
exactly what I mean. And it's like, oh, I miss those.
Uh-huh.
I don't have a clue. What are the things that will survive? 30 years from now, when my son and your son.
Because some things already
yeah.
have. Like Hot Wheels were really, really popular when I was
Yes.
a kid, and they still are now. I have a
Bring
friend.
back Micro Machines.
Yeah.
Fucking love Micro Machines, man.
Legos.
I
Those
think
never went out of
kids
style.
went out and did a lot more things. Now they just kind of they'll remember how strong their thumbs were as children.
Yes.
Do you remember the biceps that my thumbs had back in the day?
Yeah.
That was before when we had to actually hold them. Now it's just
and
embedded in our brain.
And then you hit, adolescence, and then one hand becomes more
I know.
muscular than
Why
the
do I
other
have
one.
an enormous biceps?
This
Oh,
hand
God.
is just like,
Oh no. I'll be
right.
over here.
hey, you know what? That's just having kids.
Oh my God.
What's he doing in his room all the time? Do you really want me to tell you?
I'm going down to the basement. What for? What do you think? No, but going back to a more innocent example on our episode, Darby was talking about the fact that, because y'all were talking about downloading porn in the late 80s or something like that. And he was like, well, I was in the early 90s, I was busy playing Oregon Trail in my elementary school. And I was like, okay, Oregon Trail. I remember that one. That was a big computer game.
I'm surprised he remembers that.
Well, it lasted a longer time. So it would have been more like mid to later 90s for him.
Kids these days will never understand, going
Dying of dysentery.
hot brunette, click.
You are in a forest. Do you turn left or do you turn
Oh,
right?
she's got a face. She's got a face.
we're talking about two different things.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then connection failed. And,
It's a generational thing because we watch TV with these little shaky, it was like a
vertical hold.
I was about to say
I think I saw a breast,
rabbit ears and vertical
breast,
hold.
right.
Scrambled television.
See, I think that's actually going to end up doing our country a great disservice because kids for generations, from probably the 50s through the into the 90s, there was like this Cold War between children and parents. And for boys, it kind of centered on porn and alcohol. It was, how can I come up with a way of acquiring this without my parents knowing? And it was like this undeclared war, because it was like mom and dad are like, I know he likes to look at porn, but I don't feel like having that conversation with him. I'm just going to try to stop him from doing it. And the kid's going, I don't want to talk to my parents about this, but I'm going to get porn. I remember one of my friends went to the mailbox one Saturday, and I think we were probably about 13, and he goes to the mailbox, and there's a magazine in the mailbox that's in a plastic cover.
Oh my.
And he's like,
Because your fingers have damaging oils.
and it was
Amongst
like,
other things.
it was like an Ocean's 11 sort of thing. He takes the magazine, he stuffs it down the back of his pants, takes the rest of the mail into his parents, goes to his room, hides the magazine, immediately calls us, and we have to start planning, where are we going to go to look at this?
This is so Stand By Me.
No, it totally is. And to this day, I can still remember.
God.
It was an issue of Playboy, the Swedish bikini team, and a model named Susie Simpson. And that was the beginning of puberty for all of us in our little cadre.
Yowza. And I guess, it couldn't have been awkward because that was your only source, your only outlet for it. So the fact that you're sitting there in a group of people looking at naked women.
Well, we were like anthropologists. We're like, those are what breasts look like.
Oh, girls played
Fascinating.
hopscotch. And boys didn't understand because boys never played.
But that's the thing. Nowadays, kids can just go, oh, yeah, the internet.
Yeah.
I can just go to Pornhub and find the most depraved, insane stuff imaginable.
And
I think that takes something away from them.
Well, I kind of agree with you because her parents already know about this, so I'm not like revealing a secret or anything. But when Kaylee came to stay at my house one weekend, she had me watching American Horror Story. And it was the Circus Freak season. And I don't watch that show.
I've never seen it.
Oh, God. It was depraved as all get out because there was this one guy who had like his fingers were kind of fused together that almost made him look like a lobster. And he had a side business for pleasuring the ladies. And I was watching this with a 17-year-old and I was like, we're changing the program. We are not watching this at my house. Change the damn channel.
That's an amazing moment of personal growth.
I was like, it was not.
No, when you realize, fine, I'm going to say it. No, we cannot do this.
I was like, I know this is the cool place for you to come and stay and hang, and we can watch like Rick and Morty and other stuff that you can't watch at home. But no, I'm not watching this shit. No, absolutely not.
Quick cinematic question: have either of you ever seen the movie FX?
Of course.
Okay,
of course.
Or FX2, The Deadly Art of Magic. That's what. Sorry.
No, it was the guy from Cocktail who was
Tom Cruise.
No, the other guy.
Oh no.
The other guy.
Oh, God.
Something Brown.
Brian Denny?
Brown. Brian Brown. His last name's Brown.
Was Brian Denny was in it?
Oh, yeah. He was in it also, but the star was Brian Brown.
In that movie, you had a mobster played by.
I've never seen this movie.
No, I remember the movie. I don't remember a lot
He
of
was
the
he was in.
details.
We've gone off the rails so hard.
No.
Oh, it has
Who's the
something to do-
mobster in this movie?
Louise Kelly.
No.
The father?
The father. Hang on. I don't know his
from
name.
a little
off the
TV
top.
show called Law and Order.
I know.
Oh,
hang on.
right, of course.
Come on, it's gonna kill you when you hear it.
It is the second
Yeah,
I hear because
yeah.
he died of cancer 10 years ago. He was a wonderful actor, a wonderful human too.
Is it?
No, you'll know it.
They'll get it.
Doo-doo.
They'll get it.
It's not
Ooh,
on the
too
sheet
soon.
here. She
soon.
should
I
have
didn't even
Star
mean it
Bill.
that
know,
way.
I'm
My
kidding.
God. Well, I guess we do have to give that shout out. Poor Alex Trebek.
No, do.
Yeah, so
He's had a great-
hindsighters, we lost yet another titan of the Hollywood industry this week. We
Yeah,
lost-
I'm getting tired of losing.
Yeah,
people that I like.
I'm telling you,
seeing on
2020.
TV.
No, I posted a video which I know neither of you saw on Facebook because it was just a little montage. Of,
I'm gonna put him out of his misery real quick.
yeah, just tell him.
Jerry Orbach.
Jerry Orbach. It's not on here, but it is Jerry Orbach.
Jerry Orbach.
Throw stuff at me right now. You, Jesus.
Well, I was disappointed in
Rude.
myself, not you.
Jerry
You're
Orbach
wonderful.
played a mobster,
Yes.
and another person played an FBI agent. And it was the same. It was, and I can't remember his name. I don't recall. But the guy who plays the
not looking
FBI
anymore.
agent in this movie was the FBI guy in FX,
Oh.
and Jerry Orbach was a mobster in FX. So it was
Oh, the FBI guy,
little
like the deputy
crossover.
director
Yeah.
guy, Mason Adams.
Mason Adams. Yeah.
Mason Adams.
Okay,
He's
that
he's a
one I knew.
wonderful
Oh, yeah,
character
yeah,
actor.
yeah.
Wonderful character actor.
Oh, that is just something we've lost. Those great character actors. We don't have that just huge pool of character.
I was about to
actors
say
like we
we've got
used to.
a very select pool.
We have
of them
some,
now. But
yeah.
but they're becoming the stars of like television shows and such. They're becoming
They
the
should
hubs
be.
of internet. No, I agree.
Yeah, they should be.
But then what's the level C pipeline? Like who's the next group of people to become the character actors within those shows and those movies? What
I don't know.
we don't have them.
Well, because it was character actors, and then it was the level above that in the old
Born in the dorm room.
porn. Oh, they found a Playboy. Is that the same one? No,
It might be.
It might be. It's from the same era, same vintage. That Playboy magazine, by the way, probably still exists because it went from house to house. I don't know whose house it ended up at last.
But he's still got it. Whoever it
I guarantee you,
is.
he still got it.
His wife found it like 12 years ago, and he's like, "Honey, you don't understand.
Yeah.
This is a relic of my past."
Yeah. If we burn this, there are people who will wake up in the middle of the night and know it happened.
Yeah.
Because it was like a secret. It was like Jews with the Torah during World War II. It was like, here, take it. Keep it safe.
One day we will call upon you.
Yes.
And we will have a viewing.
It was like a religious thing.
I'm so sorry to all of our Jewish
and to be
listeners.
and to be fair, it had some really, really great articles.
They always did.
It really did.
Really, tell
was-
us about
it was-
one of them.
Coast Guard.
Oh, fuck you. Anyway,
No,
I
it was.
I
no,
really didn't
no,
expect
it-
you to have an answer.
No,
to that
seriously,
question.
yeah. There was an interview with Terry Garr. That was very interesting. It was actually a good magazine.
You really were starved for entertainment. My goodness.
We didn't have the internet.
That's true.
I mean, we had-
I didn't either growing up. That's what's funny.
yeah.
So
Like,
what's the girl equivalent of what we were just describing?
Yeah,
I'm
is
just
there?
curious.
porn?
Or just
I
the
was about to
young,
say,
young people.
I guess Cosmo, it's still a magazine, but magazines were catered in kind of a sexy fashion still. Like you,
Well, I think what he's getting at is like for guys at that age, it's like
something that illicit
we-
that you
we-
have to hide.
Well, it's not even that. It's more like we have to find out what these boobs we keep hearing about look like. Find us information, and we would
Yes.
we would try to find evidence that boobs existed.
Yeah, but see, that's a treat for you guys. No girl is searching what a penis looks for when they're younger. Like
Really?
that. No,
So not
I
curious at
wasn't.
all?
No, I had no interest at that
It
age.
just seems
like,
so weird. You would think that
well, because what were you, single digits or like, teenage?
No,
Like,
no,
You
we
were a
were-
teenager.
yeah,
Okay,
teenagers.
I guess.
or young teenagers.
Well, I guess
Because eventually I saw some in person.
Eventually. I mean, you have a son now, so you have to assume you've at least seen one set. But we hope so.
Maybe
anyway.
one day we'll touch them. That's the next phase.
That's what
yes.
I'm going for. That's the dream.
Because for the most part, like, girls are raised so differently with such a different mentality. Like, guys are taught that, dating in general is all about numbers. Okay, the girl that you really like shoots you down. That
All
sucks.
about numbers.
No.
Oh my God.
Hear me out.
High school.
Hear me as far as attempting to get a girl to go
yeah.
out with you. So your dad, you come home all mopey because Susie turned you down for the dance, and that was the girl that you really liked. He's like, oh, okay, well, don't worry, keep asking until you find a girl who says yes. Girls are not taught that mentality. Girls
And remember,
are taught,
if she smokes, she pokes.
yeah, and you are not supposed to be that girl with that reputation either. So there you go. But yeah, most girls, for the most part, are more intimidated, to my knowledge. I hung out with the shy, nerdy girls in high school.
Well, we were the shy, nerdy boys, and we were intimidated too.
Yeah, but y'all are still driven.
Yeah.
Whether you're a jock, whether you're whatever, as a dude, y'all are all still driven by the exact same desires. Whereas some girls are like, some girls think it's cool to lose their virginity earlier, and they might be seeking out, materials like that. And
I never.
I didn't go to school with any of them.
they were there, trust me. Whereas I was like, yeah, I'm not in a rush. I don't need to know what's going on underneath y'all's pants. I'm cool. I was.
So anyway, were we talking about a film here? Because
I tried to get it back on track.
We went down that rat hole,
Sweet
and it
Jesus.
all started out with a 1-900 number.
Yes.
It took
yes.
And somehow-
976 evil.
Yes,
And I'm outnumbered, so of course
Well,
the subject went to porn.
Look, that's okay. So basically, what's happened is
who knows Morse code?
the movie begins with an establishment. We establish the characters, we establish what's going on, what the bad guys want. And eventually we end up with the greatest motion picture ending ever, which is the U.S. Army killing the shit out of all the terrorists, except one,
Yeah.
who is killed by
Lou Gossett Jr.
Louis Gossett Jr.
No, Lou Gossett Jr. doesn't kill him.
Yeah, he does. He shoots him in the head.
No.
Oh,
The guy behind Lou Gossett Jr. busts
That's
into the
right.
window to save Billy,
Distracting him.
gets shot and distracts Louis Cowley, and then one of the soldiers breaks in the door behind and shoots Louis Cowley in the head.
Well, we have to get to that point to see. This
Yes.
is an earth-shattering
I
revelation.
will go to
Wait,
the mat on
This
this.
is I have to my core.
I watched it last night. Mandela effect.
but now all the guys are hanging around in their tighty whities in very close quarters. I feel uncomfortable just watching this. Actually,
I probably would have been the guy in the corner with a bathrobe on.
right? Dress to your comfort level.
And so I put on a turtleneck and some
And a corduroy, pair of corduroys.
pants, and I felt safe.
Yes.
Well, so basically what's happened is we have the terrorists have taken over the school, and they're doing terroristy things, basically saying we're going to blow the school up. Oh, wait, Darth, you have something?
There was some foreshadowing there that I didn't, because like I said, I've only seen this movie once. I watched it last night in preparation for recording tonight, and Joey, so Will Wheaton, he suggests, because you come to find he is the son of the leader
Yes,
of the
of
mafia
Jerry
of Jerry
Yeah.
Orbach. So he leads the mafia in New Jersey, and Joey he's got kind of a reputation, and this was also a weird / bad thing. They call him a WAP because he's Italian, because his suggestion was, why don't we just knock out one of these guys and take his machine gun and just mow everybody down? And one of his Snuffy was like, oh yeah, those Italians really love mowing people down, or something like that.
Can I just say Will Wheaton is probably the least Italian person who has ever lived?
Yeah,
His
especially
name
with that.
ends in a consonant.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
since he had an ear piercing. He had like a cross earring going on. But no,
White wedding, man. White wedding.
no, but what?
Okay.
It's a nice day. Anyway, but think about this. In the subtitles, if you see Joey's,
I know. I would
Wait,
have.
look at those tidy whities. Is there something? Does he
Oh
have a
no,
roll
it's
of-
very
this-
clear.
Does he have a
It's
roll of half
very-
dollars in there?
It's very distinct.
the men in the room are concentrating on the tidy whities, not Darth Jader. But think about
and
this.
let's be honest,
He's
there's one
hung
black.
he's hung like a hammer.
Hang on.
There's one black dude in the room.
sorry.
There's one black dude in the room. You're all going to lose anyway. Just put your pants on.
No, but think
Back
about
to Jade.
if you didn't see the subtitles, because this is something that I thought was really funny, because they were calling Will Wheaton a WAP, and the fact that people go Will Wheaton, they misspelled WAP because WAP stands for without papers. It's
Right.
WOP.
How was it in the?
They spelled it WHOP. So Will Wheaton was a.
Oh my God! You've got to be
That's
kidding
I'm
me.
dead
That's
serious.
embarrassing.
I wrote it down in my notes. I was like, oh, I can't believe they're. Like,
I would love to think that there was someone at Amazon.
That's what I'm
who
thinking.
went,
They did it on purpose. Will
He's a
Wheaton.
whoop.
I was like, that had to have been on purpose. That had to have been. I'm almost hoping it was. My
I love
God.
this terrorist who really doesn't give a shit.
No.
There's like 2 or 3 terrorists who really, I think they were just hired hourly.
Now look at the games they're playing with the little
little spinning-
pencils and the
yeah.
spinnies. It's
I
like
mean,
I don't
yeah.
know, maybe they did that.
they're
back then.
throwing the novelty flying disc.
And one of them
Yes.
has a 40s newsy hat on.
Yeah. And how awesome is Denholm Elliott?
Yeah,
in
he's
the-
sitting there still trying. He's
Yeah.
like I'm saying, it does kind of remind me of Dead Poet Society, because that's what Robin Williams would be doing. He'd be like, "Hey, let's focus on something productive." And he's got that poignant line later that I wrote down.
Pretty
which
sure
was really good.
they would have just shot Robin Williams.
Probably.
Yeah.
But he says because the boys get distracted when
See,
the
look,
terrorists
this
are.
book will be important forever.
Literally what I was about to
you
say,
just,
Mr.
you
Brown.
just rolled her.
But you know why I thought he? You know why I thought he said
yeah.
that? Do you know why I thought he said that? I thought he was going to open it up and the paper was carved out and there's a Walther PPK or something. He was,
Actually, I used to.
Actually, there's more porn.
No, it
hidden
was
in
it was
there.
it was Indiana Jones's journal that he
yes,
that he
yes.
mailed in Last Crusade.
This one
and
kid
the-
doing
the-
sit-ups
the-
in loafers.
I know. that's
Well, whenever a terrorist
With tiny
is
nipples.
taking over my school,
What is it with you and tiny nipples? You pointed that out about Mel Gibson, and now like a 16-year-old.
they're tiny nipples. I'm just saying.
How big are yours? Like that? These seem so tiny. I
Silver
don't even-
dollars.
Pepperoni.
like pie plates?
Yeah. They're
I
magnificent.
regret. Now.
You know Eugene Levy's eyebrows?
I've got to get the ratio.
Now, how did they get the word out to assemble this large group to have a discussion about what to do?
Yeah, because they didn't have like meetup.com back then or anything.
No.
Yeah. They couldn't tweet it.
There was no
you know?
Facebook page to post on. Neighborhood meeting.
Actually, all of those people were actually at that hotel for a swingers event, and it just so happened.
Oh, it's the hotel in
that-
Alpharetta.
Yes, it's the yes.
Oh,
Do you want to be in a
because-
movie?
Well,
Do
there's
you want to be in a
not.
movie? Do you want to be in a movie?
They've got to be, prepared for the, new prostitution solicitation laws in our city.
I'm going to admit, I saw that link that you sent. I didn't click on it. What the hell did Alpharetta just do? Something about prostitution? It's legal now?
They
No,
basically
they've outlawed loitering to
In
solicit
public places.
in public places to solicit sex. Yeah, you can't do it anymore.
no cars, no parks, no doorways.
Where was that happening at?
Alpharetta?
No, I know, but I mean, do you have an address?
I don't know.
Well, you're going to get fined or spend 180 days in jail or both at this point. So now it's not worth it. Which is why I'm
Missed
saying
my chance.
No, because now we've really got to get our stinger operation going on. We got to get our sting
Yes.
for the hotel party in Alpharetta.
You know who we're talking about.
Yes, you do.
Behold, Jason.
Oh.
Yeah, show the actually
Can
focus
they
the
see it?
camera. You did this several times on James Bond, where you showed the hindsighters
I
something
can
on
read
that
it
camera.
on the screen.
No, but you didn't cut to it in the final edit, so you were
Oh,
showing people
yeah.
stuff that they never saw.
Alpharetta bans loitering to solicit sex acts. The way that's written is it says that Alpharetta wanted to solicit sex acts, and so they banned loitering.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
You have to
why-
aggressively do it.
Yeah.
You can't just hang
No.
around.
Why did you ban loitering? Well, because we want to solicit sex acts.
Exactly. In the hotels, they're driving businesses to the hotels instead of having it out on the streets. So now
Where
they'll
the-
have, they'll
Where
have
is
more
this
hotel
happening?
parties.
Where are these prostitutes?
We don't get out enough. We don't get out enough.
It's like I hear about this. It's like kids. The kids.
It's like the slutty girls in high school. You're like, this never happened to me.
we
Where,
didn't have
where
any
is
of
this
those.
going on?
No, it's like you hear like kids. Oh, kids have access to drugs and things like that. And I'm like, well, I need to find a kid. How do you access these drugs?
Now here's a scene where he spits into the sandwich. I had to actually avert my gaze because
That was
they
pretty
were
gross.
huge oysters that he churned up. And then, of course, we watched the guys eating them,
Yeah.
Nom, 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 nom,
Oh, dude, this tastes like Sean Astin spit.
I can't even look.
Ugh. Yeah,
And the
Sean
funny
Astin
thing
does
is
manage-
they lab tested it and it was just nothing but semen. And they're like, oh wait.
It was
God, it keeps
Hobbit
coming back.
Loogie. Hobbit Loogie.
I think
It's
that
just Peter Jackson semen in this.
Hashtag
What is
Hobbit
going on?
movie. Oh, God. He's going on an adventure. God. But yeah,
So
he does manage to mess with their sandwiches and simultaneously
Yeah.
take inventory and do some pretty serious recon
yeah.
against the
Yeah.
terrorists. So I was honestly impressed.
Well, the terrorists went and bought the 80s terrorist, starter kit, which has, the law rocket, a few of
Yes.
those. You got to
Yep.
have maybe a few AKs, a few MP5s, you got the special 50 caliber add-on.
And the Uzi with the extended barrel.
Yes,
You
yes.
need the
Oh, you
Uzi
gotta have
with
that
the
'cause you can-
extended barrel. Yeah.
You can,
So hit someone in the kneecap with it.
Oh, and you have the foreshadowing here with Joey and his little drawing pad because that's all they have left of Will Wheaton after he goes full Rambo and tries to kill one terrorist
And
with
fails.
his machine. Fails
horribly.
so hard. Dies
You know
so
what,
hard.
You know what got me about that scene is he got the gun and the leader was in the next room. He could have went in and
Yeah.
popped him, but no, he ran out and just
ran
started
out.
spraying bullets everywhere until his squibs exploded
Yeah.
in his
Because
chest.
what happens, hindsighters, in case you're not familiar with this movie, is since Joey's dad runs the New Jersey
Will
Mafia,
Wheaton.
Will Wheaton, his dad is a mafioso. They actually reach out to the terrorist dad in prison, telling him to release the mafioso's son.
Which
Since-
is a clever thing from a script writing standpoint. I really like how it
because
really
all leverage gets lost in that negotiation.
Well,
Yeah.
you have this thing where you've got to get to the point where the army's going to raid the school, and it's actually a very motivated chain of events that happens where it's like, well, mobster says let my kid go.
well, it's 'cause
Mobster's kid gets killed. Mobster says kill that guy's dad.
yeah.
And at that point, the army's hands are tied because as soon as he finds out that his
Yeah,
dad is dead,
boom.
But
Place
Exactly.
is gone.
And I
Yeah.
understand that it's all cold in the mafia. I get that. But what, Joey's dad did with killing the dad in prison, the terrorist dad, he just lost all leverage for all of the other parents whose children are still trapped in that school. Because
but he
it's-
didn't care.
Don't think he cares.
Yeah, he didn't give a shit.
I know that's what
yeah.
I said. It's cold.
Yeah.
It's horrible because
Stone cold.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, that was-
Whatever you
that was
say,
cold.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And then we have
Going with it.
of course there's the subplot, which is that
You have Yogurt, our nerdy little bomb technician.
do you know how he got his name?
No.
Yogurt?
No.
The I guess the sort of B cast, not your Sean Astons and your Will Wheatons. They were actually in a car together, a van together, driving to the first day of shooting.
Okay.
That kid was actually eating yogurt. They hit a bump
And oh no.
and he got covered in yogurt. And so
little
everybody
bastard.
started calling him yogurt. And it ended up,
And it ended
that
up
was
in
his
the
character.
movie.
They changed that. And somebody said, that's brilliant. You're
right.
yogurt now. And he
Yep.
went, God damn it.
And at least his boxers aren't embarrassing like some of the tidy whities in this movie.
They're boxer briefs almost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This was,
They've got support, but they're not too tight.
yeah.
But
Well, that's what all, they want to hang out in their underwear.
Yeah, but
eat
why do
pizza.
they want to be shirtless?
I don't know.
because the power's out, haven't
No,
they?
the power's not out yet.
They haven't cut the power yet.
No, that
Okay.
happens at the end.
Oh, okay, maybe that
But still, if you rub against up against another guy with a T-shirt on it, it's a little less uncomfortable than
So skin on skin action is only acceptable
They're,
with the opposite
they're,
sex.
they're,
I don't care how
um,
hot it got on the boat. We kept a T-shirt on. We never took it all off.
On the boat, as
boat.
it were.
in the Navy.
We can sail the seven seas. But yeah, so Yogurt does come up with this pretty brilliant plan because the whole hostage situation is based around the fact that the terrorists have bombs and charges all over the school, and if you so much as touch the wires connected to them or touch any of the bombs, they're going to explode.
Level the whole place.
Yeah, everybody's gonna die. So, and they,
And he's got the detonator.
and
The garage
yes,
door.
Louis
And,
Smiley.
and actually, I like the fact that they refer to it as a garage door opener.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what it looks like.
Yeah, because you have to think that they ordered the prop master come up with a thing, and he showed up with a garage door opener, and they went, "Okay, we're gonna have to address this because it just looks like a fucking garage door."
Yeah, we're gonna have to acknowledge this. But so yeah, Louis Cali, the head terrorist, can set off any of the bombs or all of the bombs
All the
at
bombs.
all of them
Yeah.
at the press of a button on his wrist.
Yeah.
So what I really loved is that all the guys are playing soccer all the time out in the quad, and I have to wonder if these Colombian terrorists are like, you amateurs, you don't know how to play football.
Well, see, and that's the thing about so they're very normal teenagers. They're high schoolers.
Yeah.
So that right there, you're in that great 80s, early 90s, genre.
Mm-hmm.
And how is it that they're going to beat the terrorist? It's by being more clever.
Yeah.
They're going to be clever. They're going to get the information on what the terrorists are up to, what do they have, get that out to the authorities so that then they can do something about it.
Which is incredibly badass. Like,
It's totally badass. Yeah. I mean, the whole scheme where they break out or where
it's like a prison break. It's like Ocean's 11 style thinking where they've got everything timed down to a T, and they've got one guy who's an expert at electronics, and that's where Yogurt comes in, because he says, all right, if we switch the chips between my little airplane and the detonator, we can, just set off the plane instead of exploding the entire school.
It was kind of a new take on the 80s red wire, blue wire thing.
Yeah, because the chips were two different colors when Yogurt guaranteed them. And he's like, no, chips are uniform across the board. They all look
Technology
the same.
was young enough. There was only one chip in everything.
Exactly. It was only one.
Everything.
But
There
Sean
was
Astin,
one manufacturer.
Sean Astin, he pulls a bit of a Mel Gibson because he's like physically going all out in all of his scenes.
No,
where he's
Sean
trying to
Astin does
escape.
a really good job in this movie.
He does.
He does an excellent job. The idea of a kind of conflicted, action lead character, he carries that well, I think.
Because he's the mischief maker, he's the lead rabble rouser, and he has no respect from the dean, really.
Right.
Nothing solid, and he's on pots and pans duty.
Pots and pans?
But
What's pots and pans?
Pots and pans, dude. I gotta clean this shit up after every meal.
Pots and
Wang.
pans. Good thing they sent the retarded one in here.
Yeah. Pots and
Hi
pans.
guys.
And Will Wheaton in that earring. I can't
But
get
he's
over it.
also the character too that when Will Wheaton dies, he's the one that takes it the hardest. And he's
It was
the one
very
who's like,
Eddie and Richie, like from It, because you got to.
yeah, okay.
They had a bit of a bond going on because not that I thought that there was any homoerotic stuff really, but they were.
It was an all-boys
Sleepy
school.
Gary.
There's plenty of homoerotic.
Send me to Gary.
Sleepy
Send me to Gary.
I need some time to get over Gary. Okay, but yeah, poor Joey.
And I love the fact that the kid has an airplane that it's like the prop guy just said, what's a thing that doesn't look like it could possibly fly?
And he made
Let's
it
make
fly.
that.
Circle.
Yeah.
It's basically like one of those pizza shooter discs, but they turn
Go
it
on,
into an
Terminator.
airplane. But what I really like
Yeah,
too
yeah.
about this movie is that none of the guys, there was no coward. There was
No.
no weak link
No.
in the chain. Nobody ever turned them over to the terrorists or anything like that.
Right.
The one time one kid screwed
Red-
up
Red,
was
like in Red Dawn, Aardvark turned
Yeah,
him. He turned
yeah.
him in, right? Was it
Yeah.
Aardvark? I can't remember. But,
But-
I'm weak, Louise. I'm weak.
weak.
do you think that thing's really flying, or are they just having it?
I think it's on
It's got to
strings.
be on string.
Because in the
It has
office
to be.
later when they do detonate it, it literally just goes straight
Yeah.
up. There's,
You know what? You're right, because a
Yeah.
wing has to have.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing.
there's
It's
nothing,
just
no lift
yeah.
whatsoever.
No. And I love how Sean Astin at first, when he's got a little spare time, he goes through the tunnel with the water and he
Yeah.
makes sure not to get those sweet
Well,
weird box wet.
Yeah, they're establishing what's going to happen later. You
Yeah.
know? And that's, I mean, and I've said this before. I've said it a million times. Even if you look at
Oh,
the,
he's got porn slid down the back of his shirt, just like you were talking
Oh.
about, Jace. No, it's really the schematics
Yeah.
for the school and all of
and
the
porn.
Yeah, and
It's
all the
probably
recon
both.
that probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you got to save the porn.
Right. Well, you have to. Yeah.
Because if the internet went down tomorrow, I'm pretty sure Dr. Cox said if there was only one website left, it would be called "Bring Back the Porn."
we have to draw porn.
And what's really funny to me is that so you got Full
There he
Metal
is.
Jacket
Arlie Ermy.
and facing off with Lou Gossett Jr. and that's a clash of the titans right there because Louis Gossett Jr. is just the dean. He's not the big tough guy.
Yeah, but see
in this
that
one
that's what's interesting
necessarily.
about the movie though is there is no facing off. There's no like internal conflict in the good guy side. There's a little discussion about what should we do, but like there.
Well, Arlie Ermy, like they end up on the same side, him and Louis
Oh,
Gossett
yeah.
Jr. because it's who did we say Mason.
The FBI guy. The FBI.
The FBI,
agent.
and we're in the FBI. He's the one who's like, no, we'll just eventually negotiate and to get the kids out, and we'll give the terrorists whatever they want. But
Yeah.
then Kali Sr. gets murdered in prison in a prison riot ordered by the Mafia.
Yeah.
And so there's literally no leverage left for anybody, but they can't let Louise Cali know about it.
In this take,
that had to have been
yes,
improv.
yeah. I've always wondered that.
So what they're talking about, Hindsighters, is Snuffy, one of the 3 of the rabble rousers, snuck up to the roof, and he was supposed to be delivering coffee to the Colombian terrorists, and he drops it on the incline of the roof.
Starts going,
and he catches it and then puts it up against the lee of this little hatch that he
Yeah,
came out of.
yeah, you don't know. And his character's superpower is that he has asthma.
Yes.
That's his superpower.
Yet he's a smoker,
Yeah.
which is great. And he sets off the fire alarms, which buys some extra time for Sean Aston, who has snuck off campus to warn the army.
The United States Army.
And it
This
kind
was
of,
still back in the Be All You Can Be days.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I remember that.
And you
camp.
know that's
yeah.
a real Army guy, right?
Oh, hell yeah, it is.
Absolutely. And then that's
Well,
a
it's
real
like-
Lou Gossett Jr.
Yeah.
too.
Well, that's like the guys fast roping. I mean, that's not stuntmen. That's Army.
Well, and I love how they're so diehard, the U.S. Army and the official people who are there to solve the problem and help
Yeah.
all the kids. They don't accomplish much of anything.
Well, they kill all the terrorists.
No, so you have to let me finish my damn sentences. They don't accomplish anything until the end, but it's it's Billy who gets the entire plan in motion, and it's
Right.
Louis Gossett Jr. who helps him facilitate it and gets him back onto campus. Because at first Billy sneaks off and he's like, "Here are the schematics, and here's all this recon that I did, and I have to go back, or else they're going to murder other students."
Right.
And they're like, "Sorry, son, can't let you go back." So they're useless for the longest time.
Well, I mean, they wouldn't let him go back.
I know, but
I've actually thought about that before. Like that. Imagine that call. Like you got one hostage gets
letting
out.
a 16-year-old.
Yeah, and
And
it's
you
like
send him back in.
It's like shit. Do we let him back in?
It's a bad PR
Yeah,
move.
man. Like that ain't gonna work.
It's bad marketing.
So the rejects. That's their name. The rejects are gathering
Wolverines.
information. Yeah, they're gathering information about the terrorists. They get the information to the outside,
Yes.
and specifically, they tell them, "Hey, look, there's this basement that's not just under the building, but it's actually off.
It's
to
a
the
sub
side."
basement with no roof, yeah.
Right. So if the building blows up,
Or no building above it.
yeah, people over here would probably be safe. And that sort of establishes kind of how things are supposed to flow.
Mhm.
But really, that's not where it ends up, because what it ends up, as far as the Billy versus the bad guys thing, is that Billy ends up one-on-one with Kali.
The leader.
Which
Yep.
Yeah.
which wasn't absolutely necessary. I think that if Billy had, because there's
Just
a hatch
shot through
that-
the fucking door.
not just that, but if Billy had gone down into the sub basement with the other students,
He
I
couldn't
don't,
he couldn't put the thing over. He had to stay out.
oh, I
'Cause
must
he-
have missed that thing.
Because they had the cart that was over that door, and whenever everybody else went down, he pulled the cart.
I thought
yeah.
he was
Right.
just
Yeah.
doing that for like kitchen camouflage. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that was
It was-
he couldn't
yeah.
close it. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that
That's
makes
how
so
Lou
much more
Gossett
sense.
Jr. found them.
Right,
'Cause
right.
He's found the opening.
Yeah,
So
but
he learned that.
oh, okay. So then Billy, should have just shot through the kitchen door as opposed to letting Louise Cali slam him into the kitchen
Yeah,
wall.
I'm just thinking. I'm standing here with a gun. Will it go through the door? Well, let's find out.
In all likelihood.
Let's find out.
It went through my friend Joey pretty well. So let's see if it'll go through this flimsy little
Wait,
door.
Oh yeah.
Joey was
Yeah.
shot before then.
That's true.
Oh, come on, that was gold. Get it together. Jason.
See, I don't even know the names. I've seen this movie a million times. I just know Sean Aston. I
Billy,
just know
Joey,
them.
and Snuffy. Those
I've
are their
never
names.
said Snuffy. I
I've
just
seen
know
it
that kid.
once.
Yeah.
The blonde kid with
Yeah.
the cigarettes. That's him. So
So he's on his way back after dropping off the recon information. And he's going back through the drainage tunnel and slips and falls and gets totally drenched.
Yes.
yep.
The whole time I'm thinking to myself, how is he going to explain this?
How's he gonna pull that
How is he
off?
going to pull it off? And he's very creative.
He pulls it off.
Very creative.
And then takes
Yeah.
the subsequent punishment for it too, like a man. Like because
Oh, yeah.
he comes back and pretends that he because what the terrorists said is that they keep the boys under a strict head count every hour on the hour. If all 92 of you aren't here, we will shoot 5 of you.
Right.
And then if you still don't show up, we're gonna shoot 10
Yeah.
more. And
Every
then it's-
15 minutes.
You're
I was
gonna
like,
run
you-
out of
I was
hostages.
yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, you're gonna blow through kids pretty fast.
So wait a
but-
minute. So it's one of you isn't here. We shoot 5 and then 10. So if like 5 kids are missing, you're just like
Game over.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
it.
that's it.
That's all
They
the
lose
students.
all their bargaining.
Yeah.
So Billy does make it back technically just in
Shut
time.
up, Kiefer Sutherland.
Right before they kill the headmaster and 4 students.
Yeah.
And then Louise Kelly takes him up to the headmaster's office and just beats the hell
Yeah.
out of him with a rod. Like
Yeah.
he's like, because I went to, an academy that
Where in? Where was the school he went to?
was in
Mexico.
no
I'm guessing. I have no
It was
idea.
in the
Anna-
U.S.
Oh, it
Oh,
was?
right.
That was in Pennsylvania, wasn't it?
Carlisle.
Yeah.
It was Carlisle.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was like, that's where I really learned discipline. So I'm going to
That's
show
where I
you
grew
some
up.
discipline.
Which
yeah.
I actually thought it was sort of a missed opportunity because I think Sean Aston, because it's never established the other schools he got kicked out of. I think it would have been cool for him to say, I got kicked out of that school.
That would have been
That would have been very
Yeah.
Ferris
Yeah.
Bueller
Yeah.
or like Van Wilder or whatever. That would have been pretty cool. But
And
yeah,
so he grabs a towel. He's running down the hall, stripping off all of his clothes, and then rounds the corner as he's putting the towel around his waist and says that he was in the shower. He didn't hear the alarm.
See, the mistake he made is he didn't chicka chicka. If he had,
well,
he,
I mean,
he might
did-
have pulled it off.
He did put
Yeah.
a car in reverse.
That's
into
true.
it.
That's true.
So he went halfway.
Yeah,
Ferris Bueller.
and what you didn't see was that the mileage on the Hummer was going backwards.
But it doesn't go backwards.
You get a buckshot,
they're
too.
not engineered for that.
And that's a real Aston.
Here's
buck.
where Billy loses it.
Yeah. This is where Billy goes berserk.
Yeah, that's it.
No, this is where Joey goes berserk because then Joey, we're not quite there yet, but they get around to the fact that they're going to release Joey since he's a big. What?
Sorry, it's like he picks his one kid and he's like, I've wanted to shoot you from the first second I
Like,
got
"You're a
here,
little runt,
kid.
Get over there. I don't like your face because he does pick them at random. He doesn't pick. And it's not very like Negan or very organized where he picks the biggest, strongest of the group that might.
Because he's
top-
not really very good at it.
No, he's terrible.
he's
his
really
his
not.
intel's behind. He doesn't pick the
Yeah.
right people to assassinate. He picks like the smallest, wimpiest kid there
Yeah.
to shoot along with.
He
the
was going to
headmaster.
invest in Amazon.com and he passed on it in 92.
He was
and,
gonna
you know,
he was gonna invest in gold and was just like, no, it's not worth it. No,
He
thanks.
got a reverse mortgage. I mean,
Seems
this
risky.
guy has just made a lot of bad decisions in his life.
It's called ice and it's gonna change the world.
Well, and I just like the fact that whenever he...
Armitage School.
Okay. Whenever he slams Sean Aston's head on the desk, and Sean Aston's like, "Oh shit, because you have to think at this point.
Is he gonna rape me?
There's a
or,
lot.
like-
Yeah, this could go a few different ways.
Yeah.
Oh, good, he's just beating me.
Yeah.
All right. I'm fine.
I'd be relieved at that point.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, thank God.
I'll deal with a few, cracks to the spine. That's cool. But you have to admire Louis Gossett Jr. He is a big damn hero, despite the fact that he's not
Oh, yeah.
an army official or anything like that, because he keeps volunteering and trying to sacrifice himself on behalf of the
Yeah.
students and the staff. Like when Joey dies, for instance, Will Wheaton, that guy, in case you've forgotten.
Yes.
When Joey dies, they go to collect his body, and Louis Gossett Jr. is like, "You have the headmaster in there. Trade me for the headmaster.
Yeah.
I'll take his place
Yeah.
in the school." And they're like, "No." And they won't let him do it, but he keeps volunteering to all the soldiers. He's like, "Let me go in and show you where to go and help
No.
you out."
He must die or he will be in Crystal Skull. We cannot let that happen.
Well, he was a drill instructor at, I believe, at Naval Air Station,
Yeah.
Oceana or something.
in
Officer and a Gentleman.
Officer and Gentleman, yeah. God, he's
You
a
mean
good
your
Pensacola.
You mean your
sorry.
favorite movie of all time?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we got to do that on the show at some point.
Officer and a Gentleman.
Oh,
Mr. Brown's favorite movie.
we'll see. I enjoyed it, but it might not be appropriate for us.
I think we should do a double feature. We should do Officer and a Gentleman on the same episode as Hot Shots.
Oh no! See, that'd be
Kind
fun.
of keep it real. You know?
Anything that, yeah, we could do kind of a, the spoof versus the real version. Yeah, we could do a series about that for sure. Absolutely. But yeah, so, and this is where you really see that the dean, he's got faith in Jeffrey.
I believe
Yeah.
him.
It's another interesting thing about this
You just
period
got
of,
that.
of filmmaking. This movie was made entirely in a way that it could never have a sequel. And that's something that you're not going to get in an action movie nowadays, if they even still make action movies. I don't know. Maybe we're not doing that
The
anymore.
Rock is in all of them, so it's kind of all
Well,
the same
yeah,
thing.
but you can't do a movie like this anymore because this is totally self-contained. I mean, how do you have a sequel to Toy Soldiers? Put the kids, they grew up and they're in the exact same fucking situation again, I mean...
They
go
all went
off
to the same
college.
college.
Yeah, they go to the same college and
Yes.
terrorist attack and, So I
Well, they get together like the kids on It. They gather together in their hometown or something, and it just so happens that the Russians are attacking.
Oh,
no! That's what sequels are all
and
about.
Louis Gossett Jr. gets his friends who fly like World War II planes.
Yes.
That was the third Iron Eagle.
Oh God.
Oh
No,
my God, I did-
4.
Oh,
but-
there's 4?
Iron Eagle 4, Aces.
Is that
High.
Lionel Richie?
Yeah. Is that? Wait, is it me you're looking for?
So now they send in all these cops
Yeah.
to get the mob boss out.
Kali
Yes.
Senior. Yeah.
And apparently the mafia guy paid
The
off
mafia
a few folks.
Paid off a
They
few-
spread the word.
Paid off a few of the cops
Oh.
because we haven't gotten to the prison riot, but it's tough how Senior Kali dies because
Yeah.
he gets his
Eesh.
throat cut open and thrown
Then
over the
thrown off the edge.
Yeah, so he died hard too.
Double trouble.
Retribution.
We are a bit long in this segment, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in about 1 second. And we're back. And bad news, everyone. Will Wheaton is about to die.
Yay! Oh, you said bad
I said
news.
bad news. Sorry. Yeah.
Damn it! I blew
All right.
that.
So he just left the office with the leader.
Mm-hmm.
He knocks down one of the terrorists, hits him in the head. He's got a gun, and he runs away
I'm moving
from the
camera
leader.
so the
Because they
audience can see
announced
the,
they announced that Joey is being released because he's a mafia boss's son, and he refuses. And it's very noble. He won't leave his friends behind.
Yeah.
So he rebels and grabs a machine gun. And what does he do, Adam?
He gets shot.
Yeah.
Oh no, he runs out into the schoolyard and just I don't know what he does. He just shoots into the air
what could
and gets
he
himself.
have done?
If he had killed the leader, all of the terrorists would have killed him anyway, wouldn't they have? I mean, they're
Yeah,
not.
but the leader's still
But
dead.
the leader is dead.
The leader's dead, but
yeah.
then there's still the guy with the glasses who's second in command. So there's
No, but you've neutralized the guy
That's
with
true.
the button.
He could
Okay.
have gotten the button off of him.
You know,
That's-
all you need to do
no.
is go in and pop, pop. End of story.
pop, pop.
Pop, pop. Yeah, exactly. But then you wouldn't have him dramatically
Yes,
killed,
yes,
and you know
yes.
the
Sean
plot
Astin
driving
freaking
along.
out.
It would have ended right there. Roll credits.
Yeah, that would have been the a very short movie. And the audience, they would have said, wait, Will Wheaton saved everyone?
What I really love is how none of
Impossible.
the grown-ups took the machine gun away.
It's still laying there.
They just dragged
Yeah.
they just dragged feet back into the school. But a terrorist eventually comes along and gets it. But
I guess
it takes
we shouldn't
him,
have left this here.
Yeah.
He's
they
just an extra.
all
Yeah,
these
yeah.
kids run up and none of these, hot-boiled, teenage boys think to grab the
hard
gun.
boiled.
Hot boiled.
Hot-blooded, sorry. I mixed those two together.
Hot-blooded.
Hot-blooded is what I was going for. But none of them think to grab the gun while they've got that minute window. And then some tertiary terrorist is like, oh, I should probably
Steve,
take this.
Steve, you dropped your gun.
Oh my God, Steve, you were supposed to take this off set. Ugh. But
Oh, and
yeah.
here's another staple of action movies where you have to have the guy throwing some smack on America.
Well, yeah.
What do you do? What do you do? I
Because
missed
you Americans, you always say that,
Yes.
but you never do it.
Well, because what Louis Gossett Jr. tells him, he's like, listen, you killed the mafia Don's son. You know they're going to find you. They're going to hunt you down.
they
And
will
that's-
find you.
Yeah.
And they
they'll
will kill
you.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you
Such a
Americans, you
good
always
line.
say that. It
But
never
you
happens.
never do it.
Yeah, you never do it.
And in fact, George H.W. Bush saw this movie and went, Noriega,
Taking you down.
I'm taking you down.
But
And
Kali,
he's wearing pleated pants. Too.
Yeah, yeah.
Very, very.
those
Dad
were
and
so
lads.
90s.
Jaeger? No, Dad and Lads.
With a tie that hung down beyond his belt buckle.
Yes.
Well, I love that the hero of the movie is basically, your dad.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
Yep.
I thought for sure he was going to be like a retired Marine colonel or something, and they were going to give him a gun and send him in. No, he's a dean.
Dean,
Yeah.
Dean.
Dean. That's Community, in case you weren't a watcher.
Yeah. Have you ever watched that show, Jason?
I've
it's
heard,
like
I've
one
heard
of
of,
our
I've heard of
favorites.
it before. I'm planning on giving it a watch at some point.
Because, we watch it all the time. We text about it. It's great. You
I
should
love
really
Community.
get into it. Yep.
Let me see here. Let's go forward to
Poor Shauna.
a lot of
It's like,
Lot
what
of-
was happening
I
there?
know.
Lots of
He's
tight
free.
undies.
lot of stuff happening. A lot of
if you're
content.
a listener who is a gay man, you would really need to watch this movie.
Do yourself a favor.
Yes.
Especially if you're,
Yes.
well, I guess it doesn't matter what age you are.
Have lotion
Yeah.
nearby
Yeah.
while you're
Get your
watching.
piggly little ass back.
Mhm.
We got a fighter. Darth, did you have anything to add to this?
Anyway,
That's who saves the day. Mr. Herbert should have been in this.
Oh God,
Get your hands off him, you bitch.
that's my favorite one. But yeah, so
so I guess wrapping it up, right? Sean Aston.
Sean Astin has a downtrodden moment for a second where he no longer wants to go through with the plan because his best friend died, but then his friends sort of force him into it. He's like, "Don't tell me I have to do this for Joey," and they're like, "You know why you have to do this," and so. Now they go through with the plan, which was the whole original idea, and they sneak it.
They
into
send
the headmaster's
overweight
office.
incompetent extras into, to rescue them. Though that's the thing. It's not they're not the military. They look
Meanwhile,
like SWAT team members.
There are 7 helicopters all hovering over.
Well, yeah,
the
the real star of the movie is that one Apache who just shows off, does that cool thing where it slips by the camera, you know. When I was a kid, the Apache was still something that was
Kimasabi, jump on it. You're welcome. I got it. Yes. Jump on it, on it, on it. Anyway,
No. Moving on.
The Apache was still an amazing aircraft.
Friggin' love that thing. And
Took over for the Cobra, I think,
Yeah.
didn't it? Yeah.
except in the Marine Corps. Marines still have Cobras. They got a new one, the AH-1Z.
Ooh.
Which, it's like a Z is pretty much saying something.
That's the end.
We can't go any further than this.
anyway, Yogurt and Sean Astin save the day because they swap out the chips, and you, of course, have that comedic moment where Yogurt's like, "Okay, take the casing off of this piece," and no, not that one. That's a detonator. That's a detonator. The blue box.
Pull out the red chip. There isn't a red chip.
There should be. There really should be. Okay, well, there's a blue chip. All right, well, pull that one instead.
That one was manufactured in Taiwan. But it still got the, wasn't made in China.
I like how the bad guy has all of the wires going into the fax machine. And if you pull the wires out of the fax machine, all the bombs will blow up.
Yep.
So it's basically a system that's assuming that you don't have anyone clumsy working for you.
And
because if it was me, I guarantee you I would trip and knock all the wires out and blow everyone up.
as well as the fact that fax
And then issue a
machines
big
have
apology.
notoriously awful connections.
That's true.
So there's that.
It actually looks like a polygraph machine.
And,
It's like somebody stuck wires into a polygraph machine.
So I have to ask, the distraction while Billy and Yogurt are in the headmaster's office saving the day and swapping the chips so that the airplane will go off instead of the detonator. Snuffy is meanwhile pretending to have an asthmatic attack in the cafeteria, and I guess it's Kali's guilt over the Mafia Don's son dying, Joey, that prompts him to stop what he's doing and come watch this boy have an asthma attack.
Yeah, well, he's like trying to figure out if it's a ruse. You big
It's a
dumb
ruse,
idiot.
you big dumb idiot.
Because he tells Kiefer Sutherland to go get the file to see if he
Kiefer Sutherland stars
Yeah.
Skarsgård.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though, and I know I'm asking too much for a movie like this.
Barbecued soldier.
But,
right there. Oh my God. Those poor guys.
They swap the chips so that when the terrorist presses the button,
The
instead
garage
of
door opener.
blowing everything up, it turns the airplane on.
Right.
They really didn't need to do that.
Why
second
wouldn't you
part.
why wouldn't you just destroy the chip?
Just take the chip out and break it in half.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it was just a moment of comedic relief.
Yeah,
where-
it was so you could get that shot.
Of him pushing the button.
Yeah, and he has that great panic moment.
the terrorist panics, and he's looking at Sean Astin dead in the face, and Sean Astin apologizes.
I
He's
know.
like, "I'm sorry," because he sees that the terrorist whole plan is just
It's
crumbling.
He didn't want to hurt his
I honestly
feelings.
feel bad for what I've done to you, man.
Well, it's
you
very-
clearly had a lot riding on this.
See, I could almost see this as Bob's Burgers because the Belcher children would so do the plane thing just to mess
Yeah.
with Mr. Frond with all the confiscated items in his office. But like you said, it would make so much more sense to steal the actual chip detonator.
Yeah, just destroy
break
it.
Make sure that it can't hurt anybody ever
Yeah,
again.
and they're teenage boys, and so their planning isn't perfect, as evidenced by this scene where the signal is if the water's running, it means everything's safe.
And this is the only moment where we had a weak link in the chain because the kid that was in the bathroom who was supposed to keep the water running, which was the signal, a terrorist comes in to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
Who could have foreseen that?
And the terrorists feels compelled to wash his
does.
hands when he
Well,
urinates.
he
which is
exactly.
great.
There
He
was
doesn't
a,
want
yeah.
COVID.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
there was a sign that said terrorists must wash hands.
Before
you know?
returning to work.
Yeah, and so the kid goes out and he gets Mario Lopez and tells Mario Lopez to go in and fix everything. And he's like, dude, I'm not fucking doing this. You go do. I'm not. My name isn't in the credits before. I'm like 15th. You go deal with the terrorists.
Yep.
You know, because that's
So-
the rules. The higher up you are in the credits, the more work you really should be expected to do.
You're getting paid more.
Yeah.
You get to eat at the craft services table. So
I do like that Yogurt gets his first opportunity to skull crack somebody with.
Yeah,
a,
he's heroic.
Probably killed that dude
Most likely.
because in the real
Bonk.
world.
Bonk,
Yeah.
bonk, bonk.
Yeah, in the real world, if you do this to a human, you're
God.
probably gonna kill them.
Oh, most likely.
Bam.
Yeah, across the face, and it was lucky that they had that third friend show up, who was, like you said, Mario Lopez.
Yeah.
And Musk, he's on the school wrestling team, so they
He was
could actually
he was
they could-
texting with Kelly.
after she had broken.
Oh, they
with
didn't
Zach.
have those. Never mind. They didn't have.
They were
texting.
beeping each
They
other
were
on the
beep-
beepers.
Yes.
You're using walkie-talkies, okay? That's the best we had when we were kids.
But the three boys take out the terrorists in the bathroom, and then the plan really starts to kick in. The pots and pans. What's pots and pans? Because
My favorite terrorist
This
in the
looks
whole
like
movie.
Scott Baio. A little
It
bit,
does
doesn't
look like Scott
With a
Baio.
little beard.
a jar of mayo.
Pots
that
and
song that
pans?
starts
Pots
Look,
and
it's
pans.
even
What is pazapans?
no pots and
and
pans.
pans is. I gotta watch the shit when they
You
want to give a
fucking
kid,
immigrant.
when they want.
Whoa.
But he was on Pots and Pans, so he's not lying. So he can
No, he's
sell.
not-
He
yeah.
can sell that story pretty well. He's like,
Exactly.
I'm on Pots and Pans duty, man. I've got to clean
Yeah.
this stuff up after everybody eats. And then Wang just hits him
Wang
with the
Chung.
frying pan.
Boing.
Yeah, that's
Everybody's
a bong.
Wang Chung tonight.
So they got the Ma Deuce. They got a couple of RPGs. None of it's going to do them any
They got quite a few grenade launchers.
good because, oh no.
Fuego.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause, and
Fuego.
Let me ask you, Mr. Brown. I would think that in total the Spanish wasn't too gringo in this movie. It was actually
No,
halfway
no. it was-
decent.
well, he's Venezuelan.
Yeah, no, I know,
Right.
but like in a lot of scripts,
No,
though,
no.
especially
Well,
with a
he-
faction of terrorists who may not be
Yeah.
Colombian or Venezuelan, they
Right.
may not speak Spanish as well, and so you kind of gringo up the Spanish.
Oh, there's the star of the movie.
Kimasabi, Apache.
Oof. Oh, he gets
Yeah.
vaporized by those. It was probably a 30 caliber. On there.
Stellan
Twi-
Sutherland.
yeah. The chain gun,
Yep.
which when I was
Oh, and that terrorist is probably dead.
Yeah, he's dead, too.
Because Giles just slams his head multiple times into the kitchen
again,
floor.
these are things that if you stop moving at some point when they're doing this to you, it's probably because you're dying.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Now those aren't extras.
those
That's
are
Army.
actual. Really?
Right.
That's Army.
Okay.
I think the
Jumping out of a
the
helicopter
guys.
on the roof.
I love that the Apache sneaks up on these guys.
Because it's not loud. Or
No, it's not
anything.
loud at all.
Because all the helicopters I've been around,
Well, they were actually having a bit of a lover's spat, and
they were in the shower like Billy, so they didn't hear it.
yeah. Well, it was a whole thing about whose family we're going to go see at Thanksgiving. And,
Don't get me started, Jason. Oh God. Ugh. We're coming up on the holidays because 2020 is the slowest and fastest year simultaneously, and somehow Thanksgiving is only 2 weeks away.
Now, here's the thing we were talking about. So they're all going into the bunker. See, he closes it,
You're
and
right.
then he hides it.
Okay, because all the kids get
Yeah.
into the sub basement underneath the hatch, and he
Yeah.
covers the, with shelves and a roller cart and stuff. Oh,
How much would you want your house to have a sub basement? I would love to have a sub basement.
I would have like a Mr. Fischoeder type poker game.
I'd never leave.
Gingerbread building
Yeah.
house competition, like all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, isn't your garage kind of like a sub
It's getting
basement?
there. It's getting
in many
there.
ways. When I walked in there, I'm like, wow, I'm in a sub basement.
Whenever I was a kid, there was another movie that came out about the same time,
there's a building
starring
above it.
Nicolas Cage called Firebirds.
Mm-hmm.
Have you?
I've never
don't
seen
think
it,
I've
but I
seen
know what you're
that
talking
one.
about.
Okay, it was supposed to be like Top Gun, but helicopters.
Oh.
Tommy Lee Jones, Nicolas Cage, Sean Young.
Okay.
Oh Lord.
Got it.
Decent. Oh, there it is. There's that awesome slip where the Apache just slides right in front of the
Hey
camera.
y'all.
Yeah. I'm going to shoot me some terrorists.
I'm gonna get all you terrorists. No, 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 no.
And the cool thing about that helicopter is it's got that monocle that wherever the gunner is turning his head, the gun is just
Yeah.
following. And as a kid, that was the coolest fucking shit.
And fun fact, do you know what was painted on the side of that Apache?
No.
The actual outline of Ray Finkel from Ace Ventura.
You guys saw that, right? I sent you that the
Of
nose
course
art.
I saw it. I just
Yes.
referred to it. Oh
Yes.
my god.
Yeah,
Einhorn is fatal.
For those of you who don't know, apparently there was an Air Force unit that painted villains on their aircraft.
And Ray Finkel was one of
and
them.
I want to meet the son of a bitch who put Ray Finkel on his.
I will shake your hand
Yeah.
during COVID, sir.
Yeah.
Then wash
You
my
need
own
to be the
hands, but
chairman of the
still.
Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Seriously, you are clearly the person who established the order at Chick-fil-A because
Yeah.
you're awesome at
Yeah.
what you do. You're our king.
It's almost as cool as the guy who decided when the tanks crossed into Iraq in the first Gulf War to blast, to literally mount speakers and blare Flight of the Valkyries. And they literally did that. And I just thought, whoever had that amount of thought,
Seriously,
put stars on that.
Props.
Put stars on their
Serious
them at
shoulders.
a
Yeah.
point of
Yeah.
official,
Yeah.
like
We might
official
lose
capacity.
the wars, but we're going to look badass once we do.
We love the drama. But
So now the FB, military, CIA,
Yeah.
local. I don't even know who these guys are.
Well, because I mean, the local sheriff just failed so miserably at getting
Yeah, he
this
sucked.
in order. Because the first thing he did when they told him anybody who drives or approaches the gates or goes past them, we will shoot you. And the sheriff was like, "Don't call the FBI. Don't call anybody else. I've got this under control." And he literally drives announcing on his
Yeah.
radio, "I am unarmed. I am the local sheriff." And then they light
I am an
his
easy
ass
target.
up.
And then, and Louis Gossett Jr. at that same point said, "Fine, I'll call him myself."
Yeah, and
So presumably he's the one who
No,
called
no,
the
because
FBI.
the phone lines were cut. So
Oh,
no,
okay,
he
okay.
couldn't because you see him like try to dial in and nope, doesn't work. But yeah, so Louis Gossett
So
Jr.
here's the grand finale.
You think that Louis Gossett Jr. is going to be the big damn
Lou
hero?
Gossett Jr. has a gun now. It was given to him by the FB SWAT guy.
He's got to beep the other terrorists on his beeper.
That's a real garage door
It's-
opener.
it's totally a
too.
garage
It
door.
looks just like the one in my.
But
in my
they
car.
drilled it out and they put a light in there, so
Yes.
that made it different.
It made it look like something from Star Trek.
Yes,
But
starring Will Wheaton.
you went exactly where I wanted you to go. Awesome.
And the plane takes off on a string.
Because the terrorist is seriously willing to kill everybody on that campus, so he presses the button and then the little plane shoots up
Yeah.
in the air, and he realizes that he is
I
sunk.
love his face.
And
I
poor
mean,
Billy is just like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry."
You're not gonna have sex with me for. I mean, come on, man. Let's not do this.
And I love that they have to rehash this because
Yeah.
Lou Gossett Jr.'s got the gun from the injured soldier. What'll happen if he pulls the
The
wires?
bombs will go off.
Everybody
Shoot him.
dies. Kill him. And you think that Louis Gossett Jr. is going to be the big damn hero because he smashes through the window, but then he gets shot.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then,
yeah,
see,
there you go. Yeah,
one
you're
of the
right. You're
soldiers
totally correct.
kills the terrorist. Boom.
And
Boom goes
Louis
the
Gossett
dynamite.
Jr. is shot through the lung.
In the heart.
Yeah, in the heart.
Presumably.
But 5 minutes later, it's okay because he's
Yeah.
got a sling.
How you doing? I'm okay.
And
It's
he's
just a flesh wound.
and I made a note of that.
scratch.
I made a note of that in my beloved book, Hindsighters, because he is in a sling. But of course, you have to have this adorable moment where he and Billy have some repartee out in the hall, despite the
And they
fact
freeze frame, and you hear do 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 do.
And the dolphins jump up on either side. John Mulaney is new in town.
Well,
That's
they
the
have
end.
they have to have character development, and the arc
course.
has got to land.
Where those two end up on a mutual page of respect.
If they hadn't done it, it would have felt weird.
Because
know.
Billy's like, "So Dean, am I still on pots and pans, or am I cool now?" He's like, "Oh,
Billy's still got brain matter and blood. Like there's little bits of brain in his hair.
I mean, it's not exactly Evil
But
Dead.
his hair is perfect. Look at that.
I know.
It's
What
not-
a head of hair he's got.
It's not exactly Evil
I
Dead.
kind of want
There's
to get
not
a
all the
denim
corn
vest
syrup.
now. You know?
I've got one at home. I can loan it to you if you want it.
And I kind of want to start singing, "Don't you forget about me," when all the boys just bust out of the gate and they're all like free to go. It's
Well, and
not
the terrorist turns around and does this and freezes.
Judd Nelson in the background, but and Molly Ringwald.
No, they both got shot in a deleted
Where's
scene.
Billy? Is he in the ambulance? Where's Billy?
know, they're like-
Where's Billy? Oh, no. Tinted windows, but
Billy
nevertheless,
Tupper in
I
there?
can't see in there.
Well, wait, who is in the ambulance?
Now, wasn't that guy from not Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, who was working the computer?
No, that was Courtney Vance.
Oh,
Wasn't it?
okay.
Oh, the glasses.
Just kidding,
do
but
kind
look,
of-
he does.
That's
he-
racist.
Yeah, damn, dude.
Sorry.
Good lord, dog.
He's black with glasses. So
Courtney
clearly
B.
he was
Vance,
in that movie.
who was also in Hunt for Red October.
With the
Seaman
$70,000
Was he
wig.
Jones? Was he Jonesy?
Yeah, it was Jonesy.
Oh,
With the
wow.
$70,000 wig,
Yeah.
which was the star of the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Billy makes it out, and all the guys are back together, and they're doing their little handshake, and everybody's
What do you think?
reunited.
Steadicam here? Yeah.
Let's go back to repressing all of our weird sexual urges.
No, let's have a porn party. After all this tension. And meanwhile, nobody's organizing these kids. They're just running off into the
Where
sunset.
are they going?
Where are they going?
I think the kids should have stolen the helicopter.
Yeah.
We're going to Mexico, bitches.
We're going to Colombia to find the rest of these terrorists.
That is a beautiful, beautiful campus.
It really is.
Wow. Look at the woods.
At the time, it was an all-male school. It's co-ed now.
Okay.
It's still in business, though. I looked it up today.
Yeah, it was a military academy.
Yeah.
All boys back in the day.
William P. Kennedy's.
Yep. It's who wrote the novel.
Produced by David O. Selznick. Not really.
But-
And there's that Apache just chewing the scenery.
He really chewed it.
Yeah.
Like Nicolas Cage.
Fade to black. But then they have the little bits here. I like that.
I know. I like
Aston.
this stuff. You know?
Starring Sean Aston.
Will Wheaton.
Bill Creighton. Without a
Spell
shirt.
your name right, you douche.
That's right.
Keith Coogan, not related to Steve Coogan,
Snuffy.
as far as we know.
Not related to Jackie Coogan.
No, he is.
Oh, is he like
It's
his grandson?
Jackie Coogan's
Grandson?
grandson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Knew it.
Yeah.
He kind of looked a little like him, actually. But
Andrew DeVolf. And the great
Arlie
Army.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Lee
Full
Ermey. He was a
metal
cool guy.
Jacket.
Yeah.
Yep. Mason Adams looking like the tall man from Phantasm.
Mitch McConnell.
I've seen him in so many
Yeah.
films.
Well, he's the Senate Majority Leader.
And Mario Lopez.
Mario Lopez.
Excuse me, George Perez is his actual name. T.E. Russell.
Who I really
AKA
wish had gotten more work. He was really good in this. And there he is. There's Kiefer.
Michael Champion
it's
is his
Sting.
real name.
Michael Shawn and Champion
Yogurt's
Phelan.
name is Sean Phelan.
And those are all the...
With
Aw.
Dana Melby. Oh, and then that was the callback
Yeah,
that we
that
didn't
was-
talk about. So the headmaster follows the guys into the sub basement below the kitchen,
Yeah.
and somehow they didn't confiscate all of the mouthwash
Yeah.
concoction because they're all taking
There was
shots
plenty
of it,
left.
including the
Yeah.
headmaster. He does a shot of liquor with the
Yeah.
kids, and I thought that was a great callback. I thought that was fantastic.
No, wait, I just saw it. Am I right? I'm going to pull up IMDb real quick because I think
Please do so.
that Michael Kahn, did I see that he was the editor?
I'm not sure, but so. Let's go ahead and while Jason's doing that, we can start on Alta Seinfeld, and I'll start, given the fact that I've never seen this movie before, and this has been happening a lot, so we've got to change up our movie selections a little. I'm a straight 5 because I just saw this movie for the first time last night, and
Yeah.
as an adult, so nothing
Yeah.
changed. And watching it a second time, I really enjoyed it. It was good throughout, and
Yeah.
no lulls or anything boring. I really liked it.
I was a little nervous, like, I loved this movie a lot when I was a kid, and I watched
You've
it
talked
again,
about
and
it a lot.
I still love it. And by the way, it was Michael Kahn who
Really?
edited Raiders of the Lost Ark, Saving Private Ryan, Jurassic Park, 1941, pretty much every movie you've ever seen that you liked, all the Indiana Jones movies, edited by the same guy who edited this movie. So,
Let it go.
It was
Andy.
well edited.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
but yeah, so I'm gonna give it a 5 because I loved it.
just as much
Straight
now.
up, still loved it.
All
It's
right.
just as good. I watched it with David, and he was like, "Fuck yeah, this is great."
Well, because these are kids not much older than
Well,
he
as,
is.
as,
He's
a,
like, I
as
can
a
pull this
kid,
off.
you want to be validated that you can actually do something.
Yes,
Because
yes.
in your life, adults are doing everything. You're just doing nothing.
Get it together, Jason.
So yeah, I'm going to give it a 7 because I really, really loved it. It was just a very well put together film
was.
from start
It
to
improved
finish.
for you.
I liked it.
Yeah, as an
improved,
action
yeah.
movie, it actually held together as a movie. It was competently made. The story was okay. Yeah, all the stuff fit into place.
And it's not utterly ridiculous with the weapons.
No,
or
it's really
anything.
not.
Yeah, it's not without. Yeah, like you said.
Because the kids, it wasn't Wolverines. It wasn't
Right.
Red. They didn't go beat the Soviet Union.
yeah.
They just kind of made it easier for the army to come in and they helped them.
Yeah, they were a hinge in the plan.
Yeah.
Like they were an incredibly important hinge, but they played an incredibly important role. So,
But I like the inadvertent killing of the son, which of
Yes.
course led to the killing of the father, which kind of ups the
Retribution.
stakes, really ups the stakes
and
quite a bit.
eliminates the leverage. And,
Yeah.
It does, and you can almost like imagine like writers, and of course this was a novel, so I don't know. I know the novel, it was set in Italy, I think.
Oh, really?
It was the same
like a
thing.
boarding school.
It was a
but
prestigious.
in a different country.
Yeah, it was a prestigious boarding school, and there were a lot of rich Americans who sent their kids there, and it was a Palestinian, I think, terrorist thing. So I mean, obviously it's different.
Well, that's
Right.
interesting
You know,
because there
yeah.
was a whole dynamic with the not really press conference that they had with Louis Gossett Jr. and the FBI guy, because there were two different factions. There was the rich families who had their kids at the school, and some of the kids were just there on a scholarship. And so they started fighting amongst themselves, saying, "Well, just because we don't know important people, that doesn't mean that our kids deserve to die." And so,
Yeah,
I
I
mean, so
mean,
they
that-
started turning on each
yeah.
other. It was pretty intense.
I mean, somewhere in the background was that kid from Mystic Pizza. Shit, what's his name?
The boy?
Come on,
The brother?
from Scent of a Woman.
I know. I'm not
Oh.
going to tell you.
Crap, this is gonna kill me.
Well, Matt
it up.
Damon was in
No,
Mystic
not
Pizza.
Matt Damon.
No, all I could think of is Ron Swanson describing Julia Roberts as that toothy girl from Mystic Pizza.
Now I have to look it up. Now.
You seriously thought he was in the background, or is this a joke?
No, because in Scent of a Woman, they carry Chris O'Donnell.
Yes.
Chris
Oh,
O'Donnell. Chris
right,
O'Donnell
yes.
was the private school kid. So
Yes.
Yeah.
And look at all the thanks to the Army.
Yeah, they had a lot of involvement in this
Wow,
film.
West Virginia, Texas, Virginia.
Yeah. And I love that. That was there's certain filmmakers who just know how to get an in.
Yeah.
If one of these days we'll talk about Goldfinger, which the Army was like, whatever you want.
Well, and I guess it has to do with like the name recognition on some things, but it also probably has to do with how inept you make the Army look.
Well, yeah, the Army won't do it. They have to look at the script, and if it makes the Army look bad,
it's kind of like
they're not going to help.
how you
Which,
marveled
yeah,
over.
I can't blame them.
It's like how you marveled over SeaWorld approving Jaws 3D because it's like, this was the dumbest
Yeah,
freaking
that-
movie.
yeah.
Like, how did this pass
Yeah.
muster? I just don't know. But I think it really depends on that. So, one last question before we sign off. Why is it called Toy Soldiers? They never really
just
get
think
into...
of the kids. They're like little toys.
Because they're miniature, like... They're
Yeah.
just,
They're kids. They're
Well,
toy soldiers.
the original cover of the book, it was like
I didn't know if it was like the little
old-fashioned,
metal
like,
toy
old
soldiers.
Yeah, toy soldier. Like the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
like those. Yeah.
Okay, so it was kind of I'm sure the book goes more in depth with it, but they never really crack into that in the movie itself. But
see, customers also watched Iron
Of
Eagle.
course.
That makes a lot of sense.
Small Soldiers, which is what I initially thought you were talking
Ew.
about.
Charlie Sheen and Cadence. I remember that.
Oh my god, I'd forgotten that movie existed.
Masterminds, Con Air,
Under Siege.
Oh,
I
we're
love Under Siege.
Feds. Rebecca De Mornay, America.
I have no idea.
Wow,
what that movie is.
we're gonna get real deep here. Oh, there it is. There's
That's
Firebirds.
what she said. Firebirds.
That is totally the one.
Drop Zone with Wesley Snipes.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh, and just one of the guys.
Of course.
Have
Well, I
either
don't-
of you ever seen that movie?
Of course not.
Oh, really?
I've heard of it, but I was just like, oh come on.
yeah, that is
This
a-
concept
yeah.
again. Like
Yeah, it's. Well, we could go down this rabbit hole for a while.
we could.
Yes.
So
Oh,
we've-
License to Drive. Great movie. Sorry, I could just watch this whole day.
all right. So that pretty much wraps us up for this special episode. Jason finally picked something, like I said, without aliens. He had hobbits instead. So,
Don't worry, I'll be back to aliens next time.
not if we have anything to say about it. But
Or
anyhow,
ghosts.
we have to thank you for joining us, listeners.
Thank you,
for,
everyone.
joining us in the studio, especially for Veterans Day, to celebrate one of our most beloved veterans. And thank you to all the veterans who listen and
Yes.
all the veterans
Amen.
everywhere. We
Amen.
appreciate every single last one of you. Thank you for your service. And thank you for joining us for your drive time, your veteran time, your listening time, your toy soldier time. We don't really care what time. We appreciate you. This has been Darth, Jason, and Adam B. This has been Hindsight, and good night.